All right. We are live. Good morning.
Good morning. Let me go back here. We are off and running. I think we were at 688 or 689 last night when I looked. Let's see here. Oh, there you go. It's already popped up on the old 107.
Yep. So, yeah, again, we're fine. We're fine to double up. As long as the conversation is flowing, we can go as long as we feel like it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be. We got the Sam Darnold trade. Obviously, we got the basketball game last night, a little baseball tonight. Get into a little bit of Panthers.
All right, so I'm going to put you on, and then I'm going to go check the air signal. So you just open it up for a couple minutes.
Okay.
Morning, RL. First one in today.
Good morning. Come on, I tweet out before. Got it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, yep.
Oh, somewhere in Waco, Texas, they're just playing this on a loop. They're just partying. They're out having a good time after a kind of a dud of a game, to be honest. Baylor just bum rushes Gonzaga out of the gate last night in a game that I think a lot of us wanted to see at least be entertaining. I don't know if anybody had if you didn't have a financial rooting affinity last night, you just probably wanted to see a good game, and it didn't develop into that. I found myself constantly pulling just for Gonzaga to make a run, to make it a game, to make it worth watching. Never happened. And Baylor is your 2020-2021 national championship NCAA basketball team. It does tell you that if Baylor can do it, anybody can do it. I mean, Baylor's basketball history is almost as bad or as bad as South Carolina's. They've reached points in the last 20 years lower than South Carolina's, and yet last night there's Scott Drew, who Patrick I noticed late. Now maybe it was late. I stayed up. I made it. I'm feeling it right now. I've got the coffee going. I'm getting old.
I'm shocked by that.
I'm getting old. I did not realize that staying up till midnight and doing a 5 a.m., 6 a.m. radio show is not enjoyable, but I made it. I watched One Shining Moment, which I have a bone to pick with CBS. We got to get that going a little bit quicker in the future.
Did you do that just to prove it to yourself, or you genuinely thought Gonzaga would come back? Because I thought for sure, and we talked about the 9:20 tip being ridiculous. Everyone kind of had an excuse to go to bed.
Yeah, they did quick. They did. It was 16-4. It was 16-4 out of the gate. It was 33-14.
Not too quick, because Gonzaga did. I had to leave at halftime and go to work, but for Gonzaga to go on that run to end the half and make it a 10-point game at half, you felt like, okay, here we go. They'll turn it on. We'll have a ball game in the second half. And then every time Gonzaga got on a little run, Baylor just hit a big shot, a big three, and just never let them get close.
Yeah, it was a game. It was evident early on what I think you and I had talked about, but I never could pull the trigger on it and say it out loud or really believe it. I thought Gonzaga was too fundamentally sound, but the athleticism of Baylor last night was absolutely on display. And as much as I like watching Drew Timme play and watching Corey Kispert play, the athleticism that Baylor had absolutely negated both. Timmy did some good things, 12 points and 5 rebounds. He ends up getting, I don't know, had a hip issue in the game.
Immediately after he already had 4 fouls.
Yeah, all of a sudden. But the athleticism of Baylor last night was phenomenal. I mean, the interior, obviously those guards. I don't know how many people that are listening this morning. Look, I love college basketball. I watched Baylor some this year. That's the definition of limited. But yeah, last night, absolute beat down, and 86-70 really kind of not even justice to how much of a beat down it was, because Patrick, like I said, it was 13-4. Well, it was 9-0. And then it turned into 13-4. It developed into 33-14. And you're right, Gonzaga makes a run. They kind of get their legs under them.
After 9-0, they got it to 9 points one more time in the game, and that was the closest it ever got.
Yeah, but you're right. They make the run. They get it 47-37 at halftime. The announcer, I'll tell you, I was watching in-game lines. I wanted to see how the betting was going in this game, because yesterday Gonzaga was a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under was set right around 160. I think it was 159.5 at game time. And so I was very intrigued by how Vegas was going to set the line for the second half. Gonzaga in the second half, after being down, Gonzaga was minus 6.5 for the second half. So if you understand what that means, obviously it means Gonzaga was going to outscore them in the second half alone by 7 points, or Baylor was going to cover, 7. And instead, Gonzaga is outscored by 6. They end up losing by 16. I don't think it was a good night for Vegas, to be quite honest. But Baylor absolutely rolled last night. I'm impressed. It ends a perfect season for the Zags. And Scott Drew, who, again, I don't know if I was tired. I don't know if I was just out of it, or I don't know if I have a valid point, and that is that there is some resemblance to show friend and local funny guy Brian Glenn, who did tweet back last night. He didn't know who Scott Drew was, and not real sure why he didn't know who Scott Drew was. But our good buddy Brian Glenn last night, I did notice a slight resemblance. Can you see that at all, Patrick? Did you pay enough attention to Scott Drew?
I watched him getting interviewed after the game. I guess I can see it.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I said, again.
Weirdly, they're probably. No, that'll be mean to Brian to say. Never mind. I was gonna say, weirdly, Scott Drew looks like almost a younger Brian Glenn, but they're probably about the same age, if not Scott Drew being older. So
a younger, slightly skinnier Brian.
If I was gonna be disrespectful, that's what I would have said, but I'm not saying that.
So. That's right. So you're right. But Scott Drew, they played the video clip of him arriving in Waco in 2003 and talking about playing and winning a national championship. That's something I feel like all coaches say. I don't know what you expect him to say when he does his opening press conference almost 18 years ago, and basically I guess he's supposed to get up there and say, well, we're going to try and win a game here and a game there and be 500, and who knows, maybe one day we'll compete for a conference championship. And boy, if we can do that, we've really succeeded. He talked about not just getting to the NCAA tournament and not just winning games in the NCAA tournament, but winning a national championship. And yes, Baylor basketball, Patrick, I don't know if you remember the Dave Bliss days. I don't know if you remember how bad Baylor was, where I think they forfeited a complete non-conference schedule as punishment to themselves for just a program that had I think reached absolute rock bottom, and there they were last night. This is a program that Scott Drew has turned around, and if you want a comparison to South Carolina basketball, it's Baylor. I mean, I've had a couple people in the past few months now. It took Scott Drew a long time. He got that thing going, has recruited a bunch of different players, and last night it pays off. If you want to weigh in on last night's game, we'll let Patrick get a little bit of his thoughts in on the first half because, again, it turned quickly. I mean, that game, Baylor came out of the gate hot. But if you want to weigh in this morning, multiple ways to do so. You can do so on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, 803-404-6100. You can also do so on the Love Chevy phone lines, 803-404-6100. Exactly how you do that. Jess and Daryl have already weighed in, as well as Steve, who joined us at 5:51. We'll get to their text messages here shortly. Then you can do so via the live stream. You can look at me trying to, overcome a midnight watching basketball, a questionable basketball game at that. Patrick's in studio. He's worked hard all night. So it's two guys hanging out.
If you watch the live stream, you can see me just trying to clear my throat for the past 20 minutes because I've been in the cold air all night and just coughing my lungs out.
Former Gamecock, I don't know who he's referring to, but former Gamecock Savell Newton has joined us on the live stream.
He's referring to me because I keep turning off my mic so I can cough.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm with you. We've already on the live stream. You subscribe, you join. We're 11 away from 700. We want to brag to Tim and Jen that they're pretty irrelevant to the success of the show. So if you can subscribe this morning and tune in with us, join the live stream for the on-air stuff, for the off-air conversations. You can weigh in. RL hitting us up, Carlton and Craig, Steven asking where everybody is. Good morning to all of y'all. So a lot of ways for you to share your opinion because, there was other stuff that happened yesterday, and we'll get to some of that. The Panthers make a quarterback trade, and Patrick, I don't know what to make of Sam Darnold to the Panthers. I do feel like the Panthers did not give up anything, really, to get Sam Darnold. So from that standpoint, I'm okay with it. Well, I want to get your thoughts on that, and I feel like I'm going to have to open the floor to you at an appropriate time to allow you to just break that down, and not only what it means for the Panthers, but what it means for the NFL draft. Now that it looks like the Panthers have removed themselves from drafting a quarterback discussion, so we got to get into that. North Carolina yesterday hired a basketball coach, Hubert Davis. It prompted a string of text messages from people I know that are now promoting a guy that they want to see hired at South Carolina when the time comes. Frank Martin will be the coach next year, regardless of whether you like it or not. But there is now a coach that a lot of people would like to see South Carolina bring into the fold as a head coach when the time comes. But North Carolina making a hire yesterday, Hubert Davis. Tonight, we have South Carolina, North Carolina baseball. The Tar Heels not ranked, but the Gamecocks moving up in multiple polls, right either just inside the top 10 or on the cusp of the top 10. So we'll get into that a little bit. So you got a lot to talk about. Am I leaving anything out, Patrick, from yesterday?
No. I mean, we'll probably unpack it throughout the morning. And we keep getting these texts now. We got 3 in the last 5 minutes. We don't know what's going on. We just found out. I just found out yesterday at like 10:30 p.m. that there were technical issues. If you were listening in the afternoon between like 4:30 and the end of Heath's show, on the radio dial, you would have heard just dead air. You can listen on the app right now, and everything should be completely fine on the app. But for whatever reason, over the radio dial, there are technical issues, and that will probably be the case today and tomorrow. But on the app, on the live stream, everything's good. So if that's the issue and you have access to listen on the app, do that, please.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and try and pretend that I'm an engineer and I know what's going on. But yes, if you're out there listening, no, we're not cutting each other's mic off just for the funsies of it. There are some issues that they were working diligently on even at 6:18 on a Tuesday morning to get fixed. I don't know the complete ins and outs. I started receiving text messages at my son's soccer game, but they were working diligently. You are correct. If you listen via the internet stream this morning, it should be perfectly fine from what we understand. If you, again, join us on the live stream on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, everything there is fine. We do apologize for any technical difficulties that will be had. They, again, we are working on it. We're well aware of it. Other than that, I really technically don't know how to explain what exactly has happened, even though I've received the text messages. So I do apologize for that. Yes, I realize that it is not convenient on a morning you would love to discuss a national championship game and whatever, again, it is the Panthers did yesterday. Just a couple of text messages in. Daryl saying Baylor played a great game. Gonzaga being undefeated is a recipe for a championship game loss. Playing not to lose was very evident last night. I disagree, Patrick. I don't think that Gonzaga played not to lose. I think it was a slight combination of I think it was a slight.
What does that even mean? Playing not to lose?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Daryl.
Baylor just came out and blitzed them from the first second.
I think it was a slight combination of a little bit of a hangover from the big shot against UCLA, but I think more importantly, I don't think that Gonzaga had seen the athleticism, especially on the perimeter. It was evident very quickly that the Gonzaga guards could not handle the athleticism of the Baylor guards early on. And then the other part to that was not just the guards, but watching the interior rebounding, especially offensive rebounding in the first 4 or 5 possessions of Baylor. You could tell that, again, Gonzaga was athletically outmatched in the post. Drew Timme is fundamentally extremely sound and has great footwork, but he had no answer for the leaping ability and athletic ability of the Baylor big guys. I thought that could be the case, but I gave Gonzaga the benefit of the doubt. It was the case. I really wish I was braver and had called that sooner. I
feel vindicated because I did call it last week.
Yeah, you were on it. You were on it. I thought Gonzaga would win the game. I thought Baylor would cover the 4.5, which is what Vegas had it at. I thought it would be a good game. It wasn't. Let's be pretty blunt about that. It was not a good basketball game to watch and enjoy. You're right. I could have gone to bed very, very quickly and not missed a whole lot. But the athleticism of Baylor certainly last night shining through. And that to me was the difference in the basketball game, is that Baylor, both on the perimeter and on the interior, just athletically whipped Gonzaga up and down the floor.
I'm perfectly happy to call it out when I think someone choked. Gonzaga didn't choke yesterday. The story, if you're saying that this is more about Gonzaga than Baylor, I think that's misrepresenting the game. Baylor won that game. Gonzaga didn't lose the game. They didn't choke it. The storyline today is Baylor is much better than anyone gave them credit for. They were playing as well as anyone in the country, got hit with COVID issues, came back undermanned and without a lot of practice, struggled coming back from the COVID reset, and then hit their stride late in the season and continued to play as well as anyone. And because they didn't win the Big 12 tournament, people probably just thought that they kind of fell off and reached their peak. But no, the story of yesterday is Baylor is insanely athletic, insanely aggressive. Gonzaga was not – they haven't played anyone like that. They've played good teams. They played Kansas. Kansas is good. West Virginia was the only team to hold them to less than a 10-point deficit before UCLA. But Baylor just smacked them in the mouth from the very beginning. They were ready to play. They were making shots and just didn't stop making shots the entire game. Baylor just came out and flat won that game.
803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. Again, the best way is to listen internet stream or to join us on the YouTube page right now. We understand there are some technical issues that are being diligently worked upon to fix. We sincerely apologize for that. We know the importance that you have of waking up each and every morning with us to talk a little sports, and we do have more to get into. We'll continue to talk about the NCAA tournament and what happened last night in Indianapolis. But next, we will get into Sam Darnold to the Panthers. We know some of you guys are Panthers, some of you guys and girls. There are Panthers fans out there, and Sam Darnold to the Panthers. The best I can say is the Panthers didn't give up anything that I thought they shouldn't have given up to get Sam Darnold. But, man, I'm fascinated by this trade. I want to get Big Carrot's take on this, the breakdown of what it means for the NFL draft. And a reminder, by the way, it's Patrick and I. If you call in this morning, be quick. We want to keep Patrick on the show. He doesn't need to know how your breakfast went or how the family's doing. Just name, what you want to talk about. We'll get you on air. If you want to join us on the Love Chevy phone lines, 803-404-6100. We want Patrick on air with me, so it's not all me all the time this morning. You don't need that. I don't need that. We want to make it a full show. So if you want to join us, 803-404-6100, Cool Care Heating and Air text line or Love Chevy phone lines. Again, check out the YouTube page, 1075 The Game is where you can go on youtube.com. Subscribe, tell your friends about it, tell your family about it, make all kinds of accounts. We like to see interaction with us each and every morning as we try to look pretty. No makeup involved, but we try to look very pretty. You're listening to the early game on 1075 The Game. I guess I should put out a tweet as well acknowledging we understand the random text message from an anonymous texter talking about Mets baseball. There's a start to the morning. All right. I guess I better put out. Give me just a few seconds to put out a tweet to acknowledge we know that there are some issues and we are diligently working on it. Let's see here.
All right, we gotta get.
Hold on, I'm good. Live streamers, this is the behind the scenes as we try to help everybody out. We're aware there are issues with the on-air broadcast, and we apologize for this morning.
Only on the radio dials.
Yeah, and I'm having to learn how to spell diligently, which turns out I have no clue how to. There we go. Thank you, spell check.
Listen. You don't have to say working diligently. We're not. We're just waiting for a part to get in tomorrow.
Yeah, but we need to make it sound good.
Because that might imply that something will change. It will not change today. That will be the case today.
All right, I'll tell you diligently and just say we are working to get that fixed. that is because that is technically true. Joining.
Make sure there is no diligence. Yeah, Patrick. Are you listening on the radio, Patrick? I assume, because that's the issue.
Let's see, both.
Yeah. Also, the security guard just was not at his desk, and I had to stand outside for almost 30 minutes this morning, just in the cold, waiting for a lot of dead air on the Facebook. What does that mean?
We're just not talking as much right now as we're trying to act. It's a crazy thing.
Okay, you're freaking me out over here, Patrick.
We're working for just a minute. We're not being silly people at 6:37, 27 in the morning. And I'm trying not to upset management with an incorrect tweet, but I am trying to let people know, yes, we are aware of the issues.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI, exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
I guess I could.
Unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like
here.
gas, bloating, stomach pain,
What?
weight loss, and oily stools.
Well, I've already done my one tweet this morning telling people to sign up on the YouTube page, but I could do one more.
Celiac disease.
I get to the right diagnosis that
Shameless plug for the YouTube page
and how often they were happening.
to get us over 700.
Manageable. So don't wait any longer.
Yeah, I don't
But
make
it will be interesting.
IdentifyEPI.com and schedule
I'm ready to stop coughing on the live stream too, guys. I'm good now.
This tweet's not going to make much sense, but it works, and it's a shameless plug for the YouTube page. And this guy, Spurs Up Gamecock blogger, is he was helping promote us. He's all about it. 1 hour ago, putting out a tweet fixing coffee. Yeah.
I will.
All right, back to Leslie here. Patrick, yes, a lot of yeah. We're not quite as perky as we normally are. Staying up till midnight to watch One Shining Moment, which I'm now torn between being a completely irrelevant song and still one of the best sports songs in all of sports.
I watched it this morning. I feel like it didn't hit the same as it usually does.
It didn't, but I'll be, and it definitely doesn't hit the same at 12 a.m. at night. I can promise you that. It's a letdown when you stay up. Jim Nantz gave it his all, but I don't think Jim Nantz knew how to handle the moment. Jim Nantz was ready to hop on that plane this morning and get to Augusta for pimento cheese and egg salad sandwiches.
I bet you Jim Nantz doesn't eat the pimento cheese. We're coming back.
We're back. Nothing really up with Frank there, Patrick. He's good or back or whatever, however you want to phrase it.
You got crap for this segment, Bill.
Okay. Yeah.
You're up. And yeah, we got to get going there too.
803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning. Cool Care Heating and Air text line, as well as the Love Chevy phone lines. You can watch conveniently little off-air conversation taking place regarding what's going on. Again, we understand, and I'll touch on it one more time. We understand if you're trying to listen via the actual radio. This is where Tim's so good with all those technical terms. I'm just here being funny and drinking coffee and enjoying donuts. But we understand there are issues. If you want to listen on the technical internet, the 1075thegame.com website, or any of the apps that we have, we understand everything's fine. If you want to tune into the live stream that we use on YouTube, again, that's definitely working fine, and you get to look at us. Thank goodness for that, huh? But we do understand there are issues, and again, working to fix on those. But if you want to join us, 803-404-6100 is how you can do so. And again, you can hit us up on Twitter. He's at _Patrick Perrette. I am at Will, W-I-L, Gunter, G-U-N-T-E-R is how you can do that. Patrick, I sit down. I've come home yesterday. I'm thinking college basketball. I'm gearing myself up for the game. And I look at my phone and Sam Darnold to the Panthers. And again, the only thing I can say for this trade at the moment is that I don't feel like the Panthers gave up all that much to get Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold has some upside with the right coaching, could end up being a solid pick, but the Panthers give up a 6th rounder in this draft and a 2nd and 4th rounder in 2022. I think I like the trade. I think I'm okay with this. What did you make of the news yesterday that this is the direction the Panthers go? And then what do they do now at number 8 in this draft? Because you don't take a quarterback, right? You don't take another one, do you?
So if we're just going to do winners and losers, I do think the Jets won the trade because a quarterback they are clearly ready to kick to the curb. You would have thought his value would have gone down substantially, and I think that's what they were waiting for was a 2nd-round pick. And a 2nd-round pick next year is slightly less valuable than a 2nd-round pick this year, and just like the trade point system. So they also got a 6 and a 4 out of it, which is pretty good for the Jets. That's a good amount of pieces. But I think the Panthers would take a quarterback at 8, but I think the reason that this trade happened is because they now are under the impression that they will not be able to get a quarterback, or at least the quarterback they want at number 8. They coached the Senior Bowl, the Panthers did, so Matt Rule had a lot of time to work with these quarterbacks, and at the Senior Bowl was Mac Jones, and all of the buzz now involves the 49ers and potentially taking Mac Jones, and I think there might have been a chance that the Panthers would have targeted Mac Jones at pick 8. And then on top of that, you heard before the Sam Darnold trade, you heard that the Falcons and Lions, who are picking at number 4 and number 7, are both ready to trade their picks. They're open for business. So I also believe that the Panthers probably tried to call the Falcons and say, hey, we would like to move up to number 4 and make sure we get a quarterback. What are you asking for? And I think the Falcons told them to politely go kick something because they're in the same division, and you don't want to give your division rivals the franchise quarterback or the future that you're going to be playing against twice a year every year. So it just seems like everything is pointing towards 4 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks. And how much do the Panthers want to try to give up? Do they want to make a trade to try and move up 1 spot to number 7? And then the Miami Dolphins will be open for business at number 6 because they traded back up to 6. Like, there's a lot. The Panthers are not in control of their fate here in drafting a quarterback. They're just a little bit too far behind. And that Lions pick number 7, the Lions need every position you can think of. So they'll be more than happy to trade down. And everyone's going to be trying to jump over the Panthers at number 8 because obviously they would take one of those 5. It's just not looking like the Panthers are in good shape to get a franchise quarterback in this year's draft. So what they gave up for Sam Darnold, it makes sense because it makes sense to do it before the draft because if you end up missing on your quarterback when you clearly were trying to, then Sam Darnold's trade value might be jumped back up again because you and all the other teams, Denver, whoever else might need a quarterback, will have to start bidding against each other. So this was the time to strike for Carolina. And second rounder next year is kind of a lot, but at the same time, if Sam Darnold ends up leaving to go sign even a backup contract, like, I don't know, $7-8 million a year somewhere to be a backup, then you'll get a compensatory pick out of it too. So there will be something coming back to you if Sam Darnold leaves. It just makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's super young. Sam Darnold's still younger than Joe Burrow. Mm-hmm. So there's so much potential in him. He's still incredibly talented and has shown flashes, but he just hasn't put it together. And maybe Joe Brady's the guy to finally unlock it.
Well, let me ask you that because all right. So that covers the draft aspect of it. That's one part that I thought was very, very interesting. And Richard sends in a long text, and it's actually very well put together. Appreciate that. He sends it in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. I'm going to read the entire thing, and then I'll get your point. He says the Sam Darnold trade was right on point. He was overrated going into the draft. He's been exactly what he was in college: turnover prone and sporadic. He has amazing arm talent. Nod to Tim Hill there with the arm talent. He has amazing arm talent, but can't read defenses. I think the Panthers are still going to draft a QB. They will use Sam a year or 2 while Trey Lance develops and drop him if he doesn't turn into something. But I think Trey Lance is another Sam Darnold. Amazing arm talent, can't read defenses either, and going to be a bust. Hopefully for Panther fans, they pick someone else in the draft, like an interior offensive lineman, and build that team from inside out. Let's let you touch on a couple of Richard's text message points on that one. One, you are a Trey Lance fan, Patrick. You are a guy who thinks Trey Lance will develop into something in this league.
I don't know, but to call him another, I don't know what he means by Trey Lance is another Sam Darnold because Trey Lance is the best runner that we've seen enter the draft since, at least Kyler Murray. Like, Trey Lance has value right away because he can run the football, and I would not be surprised if he ends up being the 3rd overall pick. He's a super smart, super hard worker. He threw in his last year of college. I think he has 28 touchdowns and no picks. Like, takes care of the football. He's the complete opposite of Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's problem is that he throws a bunch of picks. So I don't necessarily know what that means unless you're just saying that he's going to be a bust, and that's why he's the next Sam Darnold. But the Panthers would be pumped if they could take Trey Lance at number 8. I think they would love that. If he falls number 8 and you can just start Teddy again while you develop Trey Lance and get some running packages in there for him, that's perfect. So I disagree with that, and I don't know what that's supposed to mean. He can't read defenses. Like, nobody knows if Sam Darnold can read a defense. Just because we heard him say on Monday Night Football, I'm seeing ghosts, that means he can't read a defense. I don't think that's true. I mean, that's also what we're hearing about Justin Fields, and that's why his stock is apparently dropping because he can't read a defense. People are saying. People say that, and it doesn't necessarily make any sense. He's had a bunch of different coaches. He had terrible offensive linemen. He's had terrible skill position players. Like, his problems might not be that he can't read a defense. It might just be that he's been on a terrible team with terrible coaching his entire career. So it's 100% a shot worth taking. There's so much talent there. So I don't think this completely eliminates them from drafting QB at 8 either, though. But it does allow them to, hey, if we're at number 8 and like Kyle Pitts is somehow still on the board, you take Kyle Pitts and just make your offense freakishly talented. Like, you have a lot of options here.
It opens the door again. I'm more probably skeptical of Sam Darnold. I am interested to see how this works out with him.
There's no reason to say, hey, we got Sam Darnold. We're all set. We got our quarterback of the future. We're going to win 11 out of 17 games now, and we're going to go to the playoffs. And once Tom Brady retires, we are the leaders of the NFC South. Like, no, there's no reason to be like. I guess there's no reason to feel strongly either way about it.
I think again, to me, this was if you're a Panthers fan, this was such an interesting trade because I'm with Patrick, and Craig hits this up on the live stream and says what Patrick just says, Darnold is only 23 years old. He is a very young quarterback. I do think, as Richard said on the text line, there is some talent there. I wonder if look, I mean, who was running the Jets last year? Adam Gase, and who was the offensive coordinator? Was he
Adam
Gase
was my caller.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say Adam Gase is strictly tied to Peyton Manning. Like, that's basically his calling card. That's his resume for whatever reason when he shows up.
And he's known for coaching Ryan Tannehill, and as soon as Ryan Tannehill left Adam Gase's offense, lit it up in Tennessee and signed a $100+ million contract.
I think it's an intriguing move. I'm interested to see again because it's a young quarterback. It's a guy who was he number 3? Am I correct on that? He was a 3rd pick in the draft. He still has upside. There is some mobility there. Now my question for you is it an upgrade? Because RL hits us up on this live stream and says Panthers may as well have kept Cam Newton if they're going now from Teddy Bridgewater to Sam Darnold. I got to ask you, like, is this an upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater, or is it TBA, or what I guess TBS maybe to be seen, but TBD to be decided. Yeah, sure. But yeah, whatever. But I mean, like, kind of that's the other question, because you don't feel like the Panthers are too far away, but you also feel like it's got to be the right parts.
Yeah, and the thing about Teddy is just you feel like you know what your ceiling is. Like, Teddy just feels like a 500 quarterback. He can win you games. He can make the right decisions, but he's just not gonna take you to the heights that you need to go. At least Sam Darnold is an unknown. And I think that's just where fans are at. We'd rather have someone who has theoretically a super high ceiling but could fizzle out in amazing fashion, rather than the guy that we know is just going to be mediocre to slightly above average, win us some games but never really do anything crazy to win you a game that you shouldn't win. Like, Teddy Bridgewater is not going to win you a game where you're overmatched and things aren't going well. He's not going to put the team on his back and make all the spectacular throws that need to be made to win a game. So Darnold at least has that in him and has done it at times. And you just hope that Joe Brady is the genius that we've all been hyping him as. And before he gets snatched up as a head coach, he can unlock like the greatness in Sam Darnold.
803-404-6100. How you can join us on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Again, you can get to us on the Love Chevy phone lines as well. We'll continue to talk Sam Darnold, national championship game last night. A little bit of men's basketball too. Baylor. The history for Baylor was not good prior to Scott Drew. That's actually a wild understatement. It stunk. It was really bad. They had played for a national championship, if you didn't catch that, 1948. One of the people who was alive to see that, Gamecock Larry. We will catch up with him next. Check in on him. Make sure he's feeling good. Gamecocks and Tar Heels in Charlotte tonight. Little Gamecock baseball, so we can get to that as well. And there are some other things we will discuss this morning. Again, if you want to join us, 803-404-6100. You can go to the YouTube page, 1075 The Game on youtube.com and click the link. You can subscribe. You can join in. Patrick, RL, Craig, Jerome, they're all in with us this morning. Jerome says with the Panthers, they didn't even give up that much. Feels like a good call. So you can weigh in with hot takes there as I'm putting out on social media. I was up all night. I was watching the game. I stayed up till midnight. One shining moment. We'll get into that discussion because maybe my opinion changed of one shining moment last night when you're watching it at midnight after a 16-point blowout victory for Baylor. We'll get into that and your other thoughts and opinions as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Oh, big morning talking college basketball. We got a little Sam Darnold trade. Maybe we want to discuss your new home too. Maybe you want to weigh in on that. You can get in touch with us and tell us how excited you are. Maybe because it's April, you kind of doing that spring cleaning thing. You thought, what, just buy a new home. Just leave the clutter and the mess here and move on. And I tell you what, if you didn't do that, if you haven't done that and you're thinking about doing it, you need to get in touch with the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. He's helping families more than ever, helping them save $200, $300, $400 on their monthly mortgage payment. Interest rates still low. The golden opportunity is still there. Jacob just brought on Brian Kovar to help him, and Brian likes to tell you, especially a great basketball analogy after last night, don't get caught watching the paint dry. He's a huge Hoosiers fan. It's his favorite saying. He just walks around saying it all the time. But he wants to help you. Brian and Jacob teaming up together. Give him a phone call this morning, 803-719-1005. They want to help home buyers. They want to help you refinance as well. If you've got an existing monthly mortgage, you can save money. You can do it right now. Give Jacob Crowder a phone call, 803-719-1005. That's his cell phone. You can reach him. You can also email him, the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER at firstpalmetto.com. Don't miss the golden opportunity. Get in touch with Jacob Crowder. See what you can become approved for or how much you can save on your monthly mortgage payment. He is the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, with First Palmetto Bank.
Clear.
All right. Now we're just off and running. We're having a blast. Let's see here. A lot of people weighing in. Coming through. Eddie says the FM station is coming through in Lugoff. That's good. Some thoughts on the Panthers. We'll get back to that. Some Falcons fans. Oh, what a morning. Good morning to everybody waking up. What a late game.
I was really happy to see that it was a blowout.
Yeah, you didn't miss nothing.
Yeah, I would have been stressed at work if I saw that Gonzaga was back in the game and I was missing it. I pulled up my phone for a couple short intervals, and I'd pull it up for 2 minutes. Gonzaga would score a tough bucket, get another bucket, and then Baylor would just come down and hit a three and just break their backs.
Yeah, it was not like I said, Baylor came roaring out of the game. I was keeping a close eye on I will admit I had Baylor straight up. I took Baylor straight up in the second half plus 240 to kind of hedge another bet I had. I took Baylor I was all over Baylor. So I took Baylor there and took Gonzaga on the radio. That's the definition of being a Looney Tune. But did well with the Baylor picks last night. But
I can't buy the Gonzaga was tired because they had to play an overtime period argument.
No, it was the athleticism. The athleticism was entire. They weren't the one prop bet I made a huge mistake on last night. I had Drew Timme over either 20.5 or 21.5 points. And I thought he was going to get there. He had 10 at halftime. He only had 2 in the second.
Well, he got in foul trouble. That's what they needed. Gonzaga's just not a deep team. They're super talented, but they're just not deep.
No, they weren't.
Baylor got in foul trouble. All of their bigs got in foul trouble, but it just didn't matter.
Yeah, Flo Thamba fouled out with 8 minutes and 43 seconds to go.
And the guy, Tachua.
The other kid.
He had 4 fouls immediately. I mean,
Yeah,
he played 16 minutes.
Yeah, they were. It was entertaining. But yeah, Baylor's big guys, man, they were crazy yesterday. They had no problem.
Well, and Mark Vital is not even that big, but he's just physical. He just plays strong. Like he only had 6 points. We pulled down 11 boards.
Was he the 24-year-old?
Yeah.
Was he the 20? I think he was the 24-year-old.
He's a senior.
How much time are we gonna have coming back?
Like 2.5 minutes, looks like.
You think that's a good time to wedge Gamecock Larry in there, or should we hold him for hour 3, hour 2?
No, we can get him right up. If we just go right to him, I'll delete this little studio sponsor and we'll just get him right on.
We'll slip him in. All right, live stream. Patrick and I are working together. We got this thing figured out. I got to get more coffee during the break. We'll get into the one shining moment. Oh, you got it. There's a bug. Where's my bug killer? He's less of a bug now. Oh, God. One of those silverfish. Man, these things come out of the woodworks around here. All right. Takes care of that. That was something, huh? Bugs and live stream issues. And
just under 3 minutes. So I don't think Gamecock Larry will take that long. They'll just go on his little.
We'll just move him along quickly. We'll just move him along quickly.
All right, we're coming in.
All right.
You're up.
Happy Tuesday morning to you. Sun rising. Going to be another beautiful day, especially if you're in Waco, Texas. Baylor Bears winning the national championship last night, 86-70. But tonight we return our focus, Gamecock baseball, traveling to Charlotte to take on the North Carolina Tar Heels. And I got a feeling our phone caller on the Love Chevy phone lines, Gamecock Larry, would rather talk about the Gamecocks than he would about the Baylor Bears and the Gonzaga Bulldogs last night. Young man, how are you feeling this morning? We did not hear from you yesterday. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing good. I hadn't called since last Monday after we swept Florida. But you don't give me enough time to talk. I got a few things I wanted to talk about, but I'm just going to go ahead and out there, Bulldog Mike. I think it might be a 7-8 against the game against Georgia this year in 2021. I gotta do some figuring. But that's about all I got to say. But Bill Lamar, give me a little bit more time. Go ahead, Cox.
Yes, sir. Okay. Oh, good to hear he sounds peppy this morning. I was a little worried about him. Big thanks to Gamecock Larry for always joining us this morning. We'll get more into the national championship game. That Sam Darnold trade. I'm kind of intrigued by Hubert Davis being hired by North Carolina yesterday. I'm really it's an interesting hire. We'll talk about that as well. Plenty more going on in the sports world. Join us, why don't you? Wake on up. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. You think he's on the live stream? You think you heard us talking about him? You think you figured out what we were saying? I said, you think he's on the live stream? You think Gamecock Larry figured what we were saying about him?
He has been on the live stream before.
Shoehorning him in?
Yeah, what? Maybe he just – I'm sure he knows what time we end by now. I don't know how much attention he pays.
You would assume. Yeah, back then, Kovar came by here. Brian Kovar came by here the other day and said that he thought my setup, how it looks, would be totally different. I still haven't done a good job of setting this area up here. The fishing pole. Maybe right there.
To it.
Yeah,
I got a webcam now, so mine should look totally different on next Monday.
Yeah, I need to put some effort, but when the show ends, I really kind of move on from sitting right here. I don't just sit here all day waiting and sitting around. Speaking of not sitting, I'm going to go get some coffee real quick. I could do that thing. What was that? Was it give you a couple of topics and tell you to discuss?
I do like controlling the live stream because I can see all our stats now, though, Bill. The YouTube is our best right now. Yeah, the Jets are definitely taking Zach Wilson. I don't know. 2022, a second and a fourth is a lot, especially considering Sam Darnold might not, if he doesn't play well, be on the roster in 2022. But they will get a comp pick back for him, which will be a third rounder if that is the case. So you lose a 2 and a 4, you get a 3 back. I don't know. Didn't give up that much if he's a franchise quarterback. I don't know. I mean, to trade up, they probably did a cost analysis of what it would cost to trade up to number 4 or even just one pick up, and it was probably something similar to that. So I don't know. I still think the Jets won the trade. I mean, the Jets traded a guy that they weren't interested in at all, and now they have ammo to. The second round pick is a really good pick. You're going to get a good player in the second round. And I mean, the Jets are going to have. They have 3 top 34 picks. So. What are you doing? Were any of you guys listening on the radio yesterday? First of all, is anybody on the live stream listening on the radio and then listening to this in between? And was anybody listening to the radio yesterday when we were out during Keith's show yesterday? I
got all the text messages starting at Austin's practice. It It was entertaining.
What, people just ask you when the radio goes out?
Heath was texting me.
Oh.
Heath said he'd just been talking on the live stream for 2 hours, and in my mind, I thought that meant he was on the YouTube live stream. And I was telling somebody, like, he despises the live stream and probably dislikes it even more now. I own a company. I'm not gonna really go into details, but I own another company that I go to occasionally, apparently, in work. Watch the Masters. We discussed the Masters this week.
Yeah.
We got the Masters. I did watch a lot of the drive, chip, and putt stuff yesterday. I had it on at the office. Going to look at a boat today. Got a boat we narrowed down. Go look at a boat this afternoon. Found out that daughter's competitive cheer doesn't start until next year. So it might be time. We might be doing one of these things. I need to get the access could go on the boat, but the laptop couldn't. Yeah, I saw that. MLB announced All-Star Game will now be at Coors Field this year. I don't really get into that political stuff about. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really 100% sure what all the hullabaloo is about. RL, I kind of, to be honest with you, I don't even really care. That kind of political stuff, I've never followed it. I mean, I followed it more last year than I ever did in my life. I get into stocks. I bought in yesterday. I did something I never liked doing. But I took a chance. I feel like I took a chance. I bought into Norwegian Cruise Line and Delta yesterday. Everything's going back up, and I felt like that was the time to do it. I'm a little behind on it, I know, but I bought into Norwegian and Delta. And I don't ever like investing in that kind of stuff. Normally, I stay in the medical industry. AbbVie, Veru, BCRX, Moderna. I've been big into Moderna, big into AbbVie. I love AbbVie. But I took a chance yesterday on Delta and Norwegian Cruise Lines. Yeah, I feel like I'm behind on Delta, but I saw that thing that they had to cancel a bunch of flights this weekend because they didn't have enough staff. They've got to get staff back. Tilray, I'll have to check out. I don't know what Tilray is. I have to check out Tilray. I tried to tell Patrick. Patrick, I told you, was it a year ago? Put some money in the stocks. Just a couple dollars.
Don't have any money.
Okay, get your money. Just a couple dollars here and there. Just a couple dollars here and there.
I know, but I can't even make my student loans every month.
Well, you never know, man. You get in on the right one. One trade. I don't know. Could be upwards of $50,000. I haven't watched Wolf of Wall Street in a while. Maybe time. No basketball. I watched a little bit of hockey the other night. It'll be a baseball night tonight. I think that Jay and Pearson just took our Drill Bill segment yesterday and turned it into their radio show.
Just the questions that we were asked?
Yeah, the sports movies questions. Masters update. Perfect time for that. It only took 1 hour. I feel better, refreshed, ready to go. Stayed up till midnight. One shining moment, Patrick, growing up for me, I played basketball despite being about 5'6". I am giving myself 5'6". If you've seen me, I'm taking 5'6". I'm 5'7" is where I'm pushing the limits of my height. But I grew up playing basketball. I loved one shining moment. man, that was the song. I would be in the backyard. You'd sing that song. You'd be hitting the shots. You'd be reliving the moments. One shining moment was I don't know, the sports song. The NFL doesn't really have no other sport, correct me if I'm wrong, no other sport has a conclusion song to the season. They don't have a conclusion song to the season. That sentence ends right there with the period, right? There's nothing else, right?
No, I mean, somebody will make a montage at the end of a NFL season or college football season, but it's not like set to the same song every single year.
Yeah, it's
not anticipated.
One shining moment was the sign off. I mean, that was the sign off. That was at midnight last night. It was the sign off. Jim Nantz signed off. They whisked him out of there. They put him on his private plane probably, and he's down in Augusta this morning. He's saying hello to all his friends, and he'll be saying hello to us in about 48 hours, I guess. Probably a little bit more television times and all, But, you're right. One shining moment. You said you watched it on YouTube this morning, or you checked it out somewhere?
Yeah, I watched it this morning. Didn't fire me up.
Didn't hit quite as hard last night. I will admit, I'm getting old. Staying up till midnight to watch a blowout.
I think it's mostly the fans too.
Not having the fans in it, not having
there's no clips of crying fans. Literally the only fan you see is Sister Jean.
Yeah, that's
true. The only fan you saw in the whole video. Of course.
There was one fan, of course. Yeah, you definitely didn't like that. Yeah, one shining moment last night. Again, for me, as a song that like a sports song that I grew up like. I know there are other sports songs out there that fire people up, like "Eye of the Tiger," and maybe that's like of jock jams. Maybe we should do that for 2 hours here, just an off discussion. If you want to weigh in, what's the best like fire you up sports song out there? What do you got?
Everyone, where they're from.
Is it? Okay. All right. Well, what's 803-404-6100. You can send in your text on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line this morning. What is the fire you up sports song? How much jock jams did you listen to growing up? And what is the fire you up sports song that gets you going? It's one shining moment. That used to be it. It was not last night. I went to bed. I'm not as into one shining moment as I used to be, but I stayed up. 86-70, the final. If you're just getting up this morning, Baylor, 86-70 again is not indicative of how much of a blowout that game was. Baylor grabbed control quickly, opening up 9-0. Gonzaga had a free throw to get it to 9-1. Then Baylor got it to 11-1. It ballooned at one point in the first half to 33-14. Gonzaga did show some heart, some fight. They got back into it. It was 47-37 at halftime. And a lot of people, again, I'll re-say what I said in hour number one. I was following it closely. I was on my phone. I was following it through Vegas. I was following it through the sports books because I wanted to see how people were betting on this game, because yesterday going into the game, Baylor was a 4.5 point favorite. 4.5 point underdog. The over/under was 159.5. That was a good number of points, and I wanted to see how people were how the Vegas lines were moving. So at halftime, after trailing by 10, Gonzaga was a 6.5 point favorite for the second half, which, to me, not really having a rooting interest in the game or for a particular team, but wanting to see a good game, I thought that was a great sign. That meant Vegas thought that Gonzaga would make a run. Obviously, if they covered the 6.5, that means that they would have gotten to within at least 3 by the end of the game, and that we'd have had a game come down to the wire. I was all for that. And so I was very intrigued with how Vegas was trying to handicap this game last night, because the way Baylor just comes out and blitzes Gonzaga to start. And again, Patrick and I have kind of talked about it this morning. The athleticism that Baylor had. If you haven't watched them this year, maybe you caught them a glimpse here, maybe a glimpse there when they played Mike Boynton in Oklahoma State. But the athletic ability of Baylor last night was the difference, and they go on to win by 16. They easily cover that second half line. Not just again, they were 6.5-point underdogs in the second half, the final 20 minutes of the game. So I thought that was very intriguing. But that's your storyline of last night. Baylor, your 2020-2021 national champions in basketball. The Jim Nantz call, you didn't hear it at the very ending. He's got his end call was Baylor completes the greatest rebound in college basketball history. They're the national champions. I think that's not necessarily verbatim, but you get kind of the point there on that. Obviously, a lot of you a little bit older, maybe you remember Baylor basketball under Dave Bliss back at around 2000. Scott Drew took over in 2003. They showed the video clip of him taking over last night and talking about going to the NCAA tournament, not just winning games, not just getting there, but winning national championships. And 18 years later, he succeeds. I don't know what that means for South Carolina basketball, Patrick. Is that like something that gives you hope? Like that it can be done, that you see a program. Look, South Carolina's
Or
basketball.
just make you more depressed that it hasn't gotten done and it's getting done at a school that's way less appealing.
That's a good. I mean, look, South Carolina did go to a Final Four. They played Gonzaga of all teams. You've seen that run. It is the anomaly. Okay, let's be very clear about that. It is an incredible accomplishment. It's something that every Gamecock fan should cherish for the rest of their life and remember the 3 weeks that South Carolina made the run. It's quite honestly, I don't care what you think about him today. You can be upset and angry. It's something that you should always thank Frank Martin for, but it is the anomaly. Let's also be very clear about that. It's not anything that South Carolina has ever done before. And quite frankly, I don't know if I'll ever see it again in my lifetime. But with that being said, does this give you more hope for South Carolina basketball? Because quite honestly, Baylor's basketball history and South Carolina's basketball history, pretty close. And it took Scott Drew 18 years. Now, he got that program turned around within about 7 or 8. They really started becoming consistent, getting the NCAA tournaments, recruiting better players, becoming competitive in the Big 12. But how does it make you feel? 803-404-6100 is how you can join us. Bill Morgan weighs in on the live stream. You can join us on the live stream. And he says, no, because, Bill, you've already said no one is going to come coach or play at South Carolina. They can do that. You know, Scott Drew was an up-and-comer. I do think Baylor caught lightning in a bottle. There is an article out there. I'll have to go back and try and find it this morning where SEC coaches weigh in on the South Carolina job and rank it, I believe, 12 or 13 out of the 14 in the SEC. It is an extremely difficult job. The facilities are below average. The arena's below average. I'm not picking on the fan base, but the fan base is not a passionate basketball fan base. You're all passionate when you're winning. It doesn't matter what sport, but it's not a passionate fan base.
People get offended when we say that, but if you're listening right now, you're probably a passionate fan. You probably care more than the average fan because you're taking the time to listen to us. But we're not talking about you. People take it as like a personal attack.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's just a fact.
Yeah, but again, as we're saying, you look at Baylor, and there's a lot of similarities, and they got it turned around. And last night, they had a physical. I will say that about Baylor too, Patrick. They had a physical-looking basketball team. Those guards, you didn't see wiry, long athletes out there. You saw dudes who looked like they could step in and play middle linebacker for Dave Aranda there on the football team. That was Davion Mitchell was a thick guard last night and obviously made a lot of plays, ultra quick, wanted to go left almost every time, and Gonzaga simply couldn't stop him. But yeah, I think that's the other question that comes out of last night. You see a school like Baylor find the lightning in the bottle at Scott Drew, get it done. Does it give you more hope for South Carolina at some point in the future? Other basketball news yesterday, we touched on it slightly In our number 3, that North Carolina, we kind of went over who they were looking at hiring. And I was really surprised at the fact that they were so adamant about keeping it in the family. I really thought that North Carolina would be more willing to go outside of the Tar Heel family and go after, say, a Nate Oates. I talked to a good buddy of mine yesterday who's a Tar Heel fan. He thought maybe Matt Painter at Purdue, which, Patrick, I think that would have been a really good hire. Look, Chris Holtmann at Ohio State is a guy that maybe you throw out there because, again, North Carolina, you said yesterday, the best job in college basketball. I mean, you can look around the country and pick out elite coaches. If you wanted to go the Scott Drew route, if you wanted to go, there's a lot of different directions. Mark Few is maybe the one guy you definitely knew that has no ties that was going to say no, but I'm kind of interested that they elected to keep it in-house with Hubert Davis yesterday and to see how this works out. I personally hate, and I don't care North Carolina or Duke, or I don't have an interest, but I dislike a big-time program, a top 5 job, and I'll use South Carolina baseball, and I know Chad Holbrook was the assistant. He was the guy. People were trying to hire him in the early 2010s, 2011s, 2012s, as Ray Tanner had it rolling. I get it. Chad Holbrook was the assistant. And I don't blame Ray Tanner for hiring him one bit at all. But I still question, when you have a program that's one of the top 3, Patrick, top 4 in the country, you don't, to me, ever hand it over to a guy that has no experience being a head coach. That was South Carolina baseball. That was Miami football in the early 2000s. They handed it over to Larry Coker. It didn't work out. We've seen North Carolina try and do it with Bill Guthridge. Alabama at some point is going to have to do it post Nick Saban. I don't think you hand it over to a guy who's never run a program before. That's what North Carolina did yesterday. I was a little surprised. Now, no clue. I think Roy Williams I think Roy Williams didn't hand select him. I think that I think they did their due diligence and that's who they went with. But yeah, I think Roy Williams had a massive part in Hubert Davis. I think that was his pick. That was the guy that he offered up and said that was who he wanted to have the head coach. I don't think he's the guy. I don't think Roy Williams ever said this needs to be the next guy. But I definitely think that Roy Williams said, hey, this is the guy I would promote. This is the guy I prefer you get. No, I don't think the coach, me personally, no, I don't think a coach. I think it's okay to have coach on the advise. Well, I mean, my guess, it's different because Ray Tanner. Well, it's a little bit different because Ray Tanner became the athletic director and was running the program a little bit, or running the athletic department. A little bit different there in terms of how that got handled. But no, I think it's okay to have input from the coach. And I really think that's how North Carolina handled this. I really don't think Roy Williams basically went to the athletic director and the president, everybody said, look, you hire this guy or else. I don't think that's how it went down. I think that they really did. I think the university made the decision, or the athletic director made the decision. But with that being said.
So would you be saying the same things today if it was Wes Miller? Because did you see? I saw a tweet from Jeff Goodman. I think it was Jeff Goodman that said Hubert Davis was the favorite, but a lot of people in the UNC family thought that Wes Miller was the guy for the job.
I'd probably be a little bit more okay with Wes Miller because he has head coaching experience. I know it's Greensboro. That's an interesting kind of back and forth on that. Like, do you prefer the guy who's got the mid-major experience in Wes Miller, or do you prefer the longtime assistant who's familiar with the program, how things have done with how you recruit? Look, college basketball recruiting at that level, take away the shadiness of it. Recruiting at that level is extremely difficult because your pool of players that you've got to compete with shrinks so much. Mid-major, there's a lot of really good high school basketball players out there. When you're at a Winthrop or you're at a Greensboro or you're at a Furman or a Charleston, your pool of players from which to select with and to try and groom and develop is so much larger than if you're an elite program, a top 5, top 10, and who you're competing against. And there is something to be said for Herbert Davis understanding that. And I've seen more coaches fail. Hubert. Yeah, he doesn't have an E in his name. Hubert. Or he doesn't have an E to start his name, isn't he?
Right.
But the bottom line is I've seen so many coaches fail because they get up there and they want to try and recruit the same guy that they were able to develop at a lower level. So, yeah, Wes Miller does have head coaching experience. I think there's something to be said for that particular argument. I'm just, again, more surprised that North Carolina didn't hit a home run, didn't go for the grand slam. A Matt Painter at Purdue, as my good buddy pointed out.
Well, there were rumors that they took. I mean, they basically called like the huge names, presumably like I actually don't even know. I don't know who's the top name right now in all of college basketball. Like, if you could get this guy, you have to do it. Brad Stevens, like, did they call Brad Stevens and say, "Hey, are you interested at all?" And he said, "No, I'm good in the NBA." And they said, "All right, we'll keep it in the family then."
They might have. There's rumors that they reached out to Jay Wright, but Jay Wright's been pretty adamant that he's not going anywhere from Villanova. Did they backdoor that one and just say, "Hey, we'd love for you to come down here to Chapel Hill"? Did they reach out that way? And it not?
Because some people look at this as a home run. I mean, some people thought that it's not even worth considering anyone outside the UNC family.
Yeah, and I don't know if I necessarily believe that. RL hits us up on the live stream, says looks like North Carolina already had Roy's successor based on the timeline of the retirement to the hire. Whether or not Davis will be good for the program, I do like the way the transition was handled.
Definitely better than Indiana, because Indiana basically got caught whiffing on some people. That it's pretty embarrassing for the Indiana program, because Indiana they think they're the most elite program, or amongst the most elite, and they should pretty much get whoever they want in any hiring cycle. And for them to strike out multiple times and end up with a 60-something-year-old Mike Woodson who's just not firing anyone up, I don't think North Carolina wanted to go through that. Getting denied as the most prestigious basketball program in America is not a good look. Yeah. But it's not like North Carolina is at a weak point either. They're totally different than Indiana. Indiana has missed the tournament for 4 straight years, and North Carolina is still pulling in McDonald's All-Americans every single year.
Yeah, North Carolina will be, and if they keep Steve Robinson on staff with Hubert Davis, I do like that combo. I think that makes them very dynamic. I do think that makes them very dynamic on the recruiting trail. Couple texts to get to real quick here. Variety of topics. John weighs in. I disagree with this, John. This is an interesting conversation. He says that Larry Coker example is bad for 2 reasons. They won a national championship and should have had a second. His predecessor, Butch Davis, had no head coach experience either. Well, again, you're missing the point on Butch Davis. Miami was not Miami when Butch Davis took over. They stunk. They were on probation. They were getting just run out of the building by Florida State. That was a program that was in such bad shape when Butch Davis took over. They weren't a top 3 job. They weren't a top 3 team in the country. And then look at what happened when Larry Coker took over. I mean, Larry Coker took over, and Miami hasn't been relevant since. I think they got to number 2, 3 years ago? But Larry Coker, he lived off of Butch Davis's team. And you are right. I'm with you. They should have beaten Ohio State in the second national championship game, that incredible national championship game. But no, I think Larry Coker is a great example because look how far that program fell when Butch Davis's players left. All those kids were Butch Davis kids. And Butch Davis took over. His predecessor, as you pointed out, had no head coach experience either. But Butch Davis took over Miami when Miami was conceivably, or if not, it was as close to its lowest point. They did reach, I guess, a lower standard there, where in the final game of the Orange Bowl, they got thumped by Virginia 48-3. Keith in Camden weighs in and says, "Are you kidding me? Did you say the arena for basketball is below par? That's ludicrous. Are the fans into it like football? Absolutely not." I've been to other arenas. I'm telling you, Colonial Life Arena, it's not average at best. And yeah, I think it's below par. It's not built for basketball. It's not the fans. People talk about this at Colonial Life Arena. The way it's built is for acoustics for a concert. It's not built when you put 18,000 in there, when you get 15,000 in there, it's a fun arena. But how often do you get 15, 16,000 in there? The way it's built out. Patrick, what other basketball arenas have you been to? Can you name some?
Of that size, it's Xfinity in College Park.
But that one, because that was the one that was used a couple times. The stands are built up, right? They're built up, like not out, like Colonial Life Arena. If I'm making sense, Keith, it's built out where, like, if you're on row 5 or 6 behind the bench, you're still 30 yards from the bench. You're still a distance. The way that arena is built, there are some rules with what the SEC allows with fans. We'll get more into that. Now, I've been to other arenas. Auburn's built a beautiful facility. Mississippi's built a beautiful facility. I don't think bigger is better in college basketball. We'll get to more of your text messages. If you want to join us this morning, certainly want to debate college basketball last night. Gamecocks and Tar Heels tonight in Charlotte. We'll get back into the Sam Darnold trade as well. The Masters is upon us. The countdown is on. We're less than 48 hours away. We'll get into a little bit of Masters discussion. If you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100. That's the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. You can subscribe and join us on the YouTube channel. You need to do that. I look peppy, no makeup this morning. The same. The sun is coming up and it's starting to blind me a little bit. But you can come check us out on the YouTube channel. Go to YouTube. Go to search 107.5 The Game. You can check us out that way. You can make fun of us. We've got thick skin. We can take it. We're tough boys. Patrick's a northern boy, mid-eastern boy. I cry a little bit, but I can take a little bit of tough love on the YouTube channel. So if you want to check us out that way, you can do it. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. Well, Bill, it was built by the same designers, but they cut so many corners, and Bud Walton Arena is built vertical. It goes up. Fans are on top of you. At Colonial Life Arena, it's built. The concept was to build it like Bud Walton Arena, but it's not. It's not even close. And like, if you think about it, as Travis says, if you think about Carolina Coliseum and how Carolina Coliseum, again, the stands are vertical, man. The fans are on top of you. The Colonial Life Arena there is no atmosphere. There's zero. I agree, LeVar. You gotta get up, get going. Gotta get going this morning. Got to get up and get going. Patrick, you all right over there? That live stream, you're on mute, but
yeah.
I saw your thing freeze up a couple times there. I went, uh-oh.
We keep losing internet, and the internet's so bad here. It's really annoying, and that's why people are messing up on the radio, because now instead of whatever it normally goes out on, we're sending our whatever it's called, just our radio broadcast over an internet server, is what I was told. So that's why it's breaking up.
Yeah, I read some of that. Good morning, Hope. Let's see. And Lauren said good morning. Good morning. I know Lauren was back up. She said good morning. And I agree with Craig. Sitting in the upper deck at CLA, you might. Although I don't think the seats in the CLA at the upper deck are bad seats. They're just.
You can't have a student section there. It's just terrible. It's not enjoyable to go to a game as a student. That's like if you're saying at Maryland where it goes up, the student section is just a giant wall. Like, it's awesome. It's electric.
Yeah,
and it's loud.
It's unfortunate. It's just kind of another mistake in South Carolina's basketball history, and I hate to say that. I do think I think there's going to be what you're going to see is a huge push because I started getting text messages last night, and you've seen Indiana bring Mike Woodson back, North Carolina brought Hubert Davis back, alumni. Michigan brought Juwan Howard back. And as Bill, as I told you, this is not a desirable job. I think you're going to see a huge push for B.J. Mackey to be brought back whenever Frank moves on, whatever point that is, whether it's next year or the year after. B.J. Mackey is going to be the guy that you're going to see a lot of alumni get behind and push to bring back as the next head coach. Which, look, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, it's just not going to have the same impact as Juwan Howard.
No, it's not. It's not.
Kids can watch every kid has seen the Fab Five documentary.
We're at 690 subscribers.
What'd
you say? Oh, Patrick froze again. We got all kinds of. It's a zoo down there at the studio. Absolute zoo. Patrick's freezing up. We got technical difficulties. Tim goes out. Tim takes one. Poor Tim has not taken what I would define as an actual vacation, like a legitimate actual vacation in probably 2 years. And poor Tim goes out of town, and this happens on day one. And poor guy needs the guy needs some rest. He needs to get away. I think their newborn is coming up on a year. And poor guy gets away for 1 weekend. He's out all week, and this happens. I feel bad for him. I don't know. I never saw him pop up in any of the text messages yesterday as they were trying to get this fixed. He might be absolutely inaccessible. But oh boy, Tim's worked hard. Like I said, he's missed some days, but that wasn't vacations. The poor guy hadn't had a vacation in forever. Bill, I agree. A fellow alum doesn't mean success, but I think it would have come down. I think if there had to be a coaching search based on what I talked to people in the industry, it would have been Bob Ritchie. I don't know what the university would have done. That's what I can't answer. I didn't talk to anybody at the university, but I think it would have been Bob Ritchie at Furman would have been the head coach. I think Bob Ritchie would have been your next head coach. I think you're going to see again it come down to him, or if they're willing to go the B.J. Mackey route. Whenever it actually happens.
This is incredibly annoying.
I know. We're fighting it, buddy. We're fighting it.
By the way, don't feel bad for Tim. This is great that he's gone while this is happening. He doesn't have to worry about anything.
It's true. He's up probably right now having a mimosa, taking care of the little one or something. Just
feel bad for me.
Feel
bad for me. I'm doing everybody's job.
It is a lot. It is a lot. Could be worse. It's just sports talk radio. Yeah. We'll go back with a little Sam Darnold. Little Sam Darnold thoughts here. And then we'll move on to something in hour 3. We'll talk a little Masters in hour 3.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. That was a long break.
Yeah, I went 20 some odd minutes. I mean, I went, and that probably, honestly, with given when people drive. Oh, I need to get back into the songs. I need to get back into the songs.
All right. Yeah.
Let it play. Let it play. I gotta go back into our song discussion. What was the song that gets you fired up? I'm trying to think of who, and I'm getting old. I'm trying to think of who this is. I think it's Fat Joe. Is it Fat Joe?
Correct.
Fat Joe? Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's a good one too. This is mid 2000s. I asked earlier. I said, what was your, like, maybe in high school or maybe in college, your sports get fired up song? RL weighs in on the live stream. He says it was "Jump Around" by House of Pain. Got a bunch of them here on the text line. Let's get back to some of these here for a second. Matthew and Landrum, "Lose Yourself" by Eminem. Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Brandy in Blythewood. This is from yesterday. Watched Space Jam with our son recently. Forgot how much Space Jam, the song, fires me up for basketball. Have a great day, y'all. Have you too, Brandy. Have a great day. Which Space Jam? Is that the one everybody get up now? It's time to jam, y'all.
Yeah.
That seem right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a good Space Jam. Yep. We're still angry about the remake. We'll not be watching that with LeBron. It will not be shown here in the Gunner house. Hot Sauce Ross weighing in on his motivational song, "Rage Against the Machine" was the go-to in my buddy's mom's minivan on the way to soccer. That's a good one. Now I make my 4-year-old son listen to AC/DC, predominantly Thunderstruck, on the way to soccer to pump him up. The worst is "Put Me in, Coach. I'm ready to." Hot Sauce Ross. I feel like he's taking a personal shot at Tommy Moody here. The worst is "Put Me in, Coach. I'm ready to play." Makes me a little angry. Well, if Tommy's listening, Hot Sauce Ross, he's going to track you down and have a word with you. Ryan weighs in, the 2001 theme still gives me chills. Let's see. Then he gives me a little, I don't know if this is true. Does anybody know? This doesn't seem true. He said, "Little known fact, Ric Flair decided to use it for his entrance after attending a South Carolina football game." I don't know if that's true or not. It seems that seems, I'm not sure. Can't say for sure. Dane weighs in, "Rise Up." I thought it was Raise Up. "Rise Up" by P.D. Pablo, twisted around your head like a helicopter. So yeah, we got songs. Oh yeah, go ahead. KO in North Augusta says "Stranglehold" by Ted Nugent. I don't know what that is. And Rooster P says "Thunderstruck." Thunderstruck's. You say that, but I understand what you're saying, and you're right. Like, I didn't. One Shining Moment was not what I played when I was getting ready to go sit on the bench for Lexington High School. When all the good players were getting ready to go on the court and play and have a good time, and I was going to sit on the bench and see how many cups of water I could drink. And then hold it through 4 quarters of basketball while Bailey coached them up, and I sat over there and did my thing. We had great players. Ben Lee, who just won a state championship at River Bluff. Devin Leifridge, who's coaching now. Benjamin Ryan was kind of a good player. He shot a lot. He was a friend of mine. He's not a passer. He was not known as a passer. If you know Benjamin Ryan, he just didn't pass the ball. Adam Gibson, Adam was really good. Juan Ornelas and I sat on the bench a lot and just made fun of all of them. We won a state championship, so I guess I got something out of it. But yeah, One Shining Moment was not what I listened to when I was in the locker room getting fired up. But it was a song that I would sing to myself. I'd be the crazy kid in the backyard, Patrick, doing my own montage, shooting on the goal, playing at like in the backyard. It's a classic. I loved it that way. Yeah, no, and I'm with you, and that's fine, and that's no problem. Yeah, because let's be honest.
I was muted too. Yeah, we can play it on the radio, but we can't play it on live stream because we're not allowed to listen to copyrighted music on YouTube.
Yeah, so let's not. We've got a lot of issues as is going on. Let's not break any laws. Let's not put you and I.
Yeah, no, it can be only for the radio people.
Hope says another one bites the dust and celebration by Cool in the Game. Carlton says Atomic Dog by George Clinton in the Parliament. I got to be careful with you. Some of you guys, and I don't think Carlton's doing it, some of you guys try to be funny and you tell me a song that I really shouldn't read on air. Sonny on the live stream says Hell's Bells. We got to come up with a nickname for your dad. The older Carrot, you're already Big Carrot.
He has a name.
Senior Carrot.
It's a real name.
Perry. All right. Perry Perrette seems lame. Not your name is lame. It's just we need a good nickname. We need to work on that. He says old school, Eye of the Tiger, current, Imagine Dragons, Radioactive. Imagine Dragons, a lot of people got angry at them or ESPN for just using all Imagine Dragons, didn't they? Yeah.
They overdid it.
That's okay.
Their college football stuff.
That's all right. 803-404-6100. You can continue to weigh in on the music. You can continue to weigh in on last night's national championship game, 86-70. Baylor thumps Gonzaga. It wasn't that close. I shouldn't have stayed up for it. If you didn't stay up for it, kudos to you. Kudos to you. And I love college basketball, and I was pulling for a close game. It just didn't go that way. But also yesterday, what happened that was very interesting. We've covered it. Let's get back into it, Patrick, for just a few minutes here. Sam Darnold traded to the Panthers. And again, you and I, we kind of discussed this in hour number one. We'll get back into it. We'll talk a little Masters next hour. But you and I kind of discussed this. And for the future of the Carolina Panthers, if you're a Panthers fan, there was a lot of talk about Deshaun Watson. I don't know if that's something that maybe the Panthers would have been willing to wait out and see what happens here. It feels like they kind of panicked and went ahead and took what was available. But you've pointed out Darnold's 23. He's a young guy. And maybe Joe Brady is a guy that changes everything for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's worth a shot. And I mean, I know that Matt Rule does have some sort of belief in Sam Darnold because he did interview for the Jets job a couple years ago right before Adam Gase got the job and supposedly was one of the final couple candidates. So, I mean, he clearly has not a relationship with Sam Darnold, but has, I guess, admitted to an extent that he believes in him just by virtue of applying for the job. It's just, I don't know. I just think that it all boils down to they don't think they're getting a quarterback at 8. The Falcons or the Lions both told them if you want to move up 1 spot or 4 spots, you're sending us at least a 1 and maybe some more. And they've decided, look, we have other problems. Our offensive line is horrible. We tried to rebuild the defense by drafting only defense last year. We lost Curtis Samuel. We have no tight ends. There are plenty of holes to fill in this roster. 1 quarterback, unless he's Deshaun Watson, is not going to cure all of our problems. And that's another thing. That's another guy off the market. They probably were interested in Russell Wilson. That's not going to happen now. We saw what the trade package was for him. Deshaun's not going anywhere. He's probably not even going to play football next year. So they're just getting desperate. They need a quarterback for next year. They don't want to go back in with Teddy. Teddy played probably the worst football of his career last year. And they just need some sort of spark and something different. So if you can get away with losing a 6th and then a future 2 and 4, when you're probably going to get a pick back anyway if he doesn't work out, it's worth swinging. It just is. You can still draft a quarterback at 8 if it works out, and go ahead and flip Sam Darnold again. If the Bears or Washington or somebody wants Sam Darnold, move him on for a 4 or a 3 or something like that, and just say it was worth the try.
Is this all right? That's interesting from your standpoint, because you're saying just flip him again. At what point is Sam Darnold just a busting out of the league? Like if he goes to the Panthers, like he didn't work with the Jets, and just hypothetically, it doesn't work with the Panthers. Like I don't feel like there's any value there. He hasn't even been Marcus Mariota, and I don't know how much value Marcus Mariota's got. At least Jameis Winston threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in a season, but he threw 30 touchdowns. You know, like I think this is interesting with Darnold, because you know how this league loves the new quarterback, Patrick. I mean, look at what's about to happen. What have you got now? You went through the quarterbacks a little while ago in the first round and talking about the Panthers sitting at 8 and now not even being able to think they're going to get a quarterback. And you thought they were, I think, don't let me put words in your mouth, but if I understood you correctly, you thought Mac Jones now is going to go there. And if that's the case, you've got Lawrence, Fields, the kid from BYU. Zach Wilson, thank you. Trey Lance, and now Mac Jones. You got 5 quarterbacks in the first 7 picks.
Yeah, I mean, we've had quarterbacks go 1, 2, and 3 before. We've never had quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, and 4. This might be the first time, and it's kind of looking like it will be the first time we have quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in which case, there will be the 5th quarterback. If it's Trey Lance, Fields, or Mac Jones, everyone's going to be scrambling to get him. And if you're sitting at 5 like the Bengals, 6 like the Dolphins, or 7 like the Lions, and you don't need a quarterback, you're going to be open for business, and everyone's going to be trying to jump the Panthers, because the Panthers will be sitting right there at number 8, just hoping and crossing their fingers that somebody falls to them. But now they've gone ahead and said, hey, we have a legitimate quarterback. The problem is now is the Carson Wentz situation is what I would call it of the last few years, where the Eagles gave him a huge deal because his 5th-year option was up, and they were kind of unsure, but he played at an MVP-like level. And then once they gave him the huge deal, his play just completely plummeted, just like Jared Goff. Like Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl. They felt like, okay, we got to give him the deal now, give him a huge deal, and 2 years later, he's on a different team. Like that's the issue with Sam Darnold now, is because his 5th-year option is 2 years away, and it's already been decided. So you're going to have him next year, and based on his play next year, you're going to have to decide on the contract. So you're going to have to give him a long-term deal after this year, and that's a dangerous spot to be in. Because what if he throws like 25 touchdowns and 15 picks, and you win 9 or 10 games? Like you will have no idea what to pay him, or if he's the future still. Like it'll just be such a weird situation, and they'll have to decide, all right, screw it, we're moving on from him, or they're going to decide he's our guy, and potentially put themselves in a situation where they're signing up for a marriage they're not ready for.
It'll be interesting. I tell you, this will be. I don't know, Patrick, if I put as much on Matt Rule. Maybe I do. He is the head coach. But is this the one where we figure out if Joe Brady is the quarterback whisperer? The Joe Brady who created Joe Burrow, who created that LSU offense. We'll talk more about that. We'll get into some Masters stuff. Gamecocks, Tar Heels tonight in Charlotte. Some college baseball. We got plenty to get to. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. All right, rolling on. I had to do something about the sun, though.
People are very offended by the CLA comments.
We've had more?
Yes, Rich just said, you're wrong. Well, it's not perfect for basketball. It's far from below average. It's below average for a basketball arena. That's the point.
Below average for basketball.
It's not below average for a concert. It's a great place to go watch a concert.
I'm not even going to say that it's great for a concert, and I'm not like bragging, or I'm not trying to. This is going to come across poorly on my end, but we have a suite, and I'll be honest, I'm in a suite with people. I'll go in there, and we go in and we hang out, and even the acoustics in the suite, because of the way the ceiling is, it's not always great. We go hang out with old Rock Lucas and that whole crowd and have a blast, and Rock takes care of us. And I like hanging out with Rock, who's out at Charwood. Go see Charwood. Go see Rock Lucas. Tell Rock Lucas we mentioned him. I mentioned him. But anyway, I'm not a fan of the CLA.
It's just like, I don't know. No school with the money of South Carolina is going to have a dump of an arena. Like, it's not a dump, obviously. It's a nice, clean, big arena, and it's nice outside with the 650 Lincoln and the 1801 and all that stuff outside, and the way they redid it, it looks nice, but doesn't mean it's elite.
Anyway, yeah, I got to move this curtain.
You got a what?
That sun's coming in. We'll move this curtain here. That way I'm not like blinded because I was trying to look at the clock.
Did you see this video? Did you see the video of Bryson DeChambeau on the range yesterday while with DJ Singh just watching him?
Do what now?
Did you see the video of Bryson DeChambeau just ripping like a psychopath golf balls while VJ Singh just watches in amazement?
I saw Bryson. They got live from the Master Zone right now.
This is ridiculous.
Bill, I agree. There's so many things that they should have done with Colonial Life Arena. Again, just from a basketball standpoint, how you build the seats is important. And when the seats are spread out, when they go out the way they do, it's just not good. Which one of my kids is on here? My daughter? Okay. What you getting, sweetie? I don't know. Yeah, I agree, Bill. The old Coliseum, I grew up going there. I mean, I'm 38. I'll be 39 next month. But, yeah, the old Coliseum was awesome. Patrick, what are we looking at? About a minute and a half?
A little more than that. Yeah, about 2 minutes. See my computer? Yeah. Is this not ridiculous what Bryson's doing here?
Oh, where he's just ripping it?
He just runs up to it and just like psychs himself up like a psycho, just murdering golf balls. It's insane. All right.
Oh yeah, we need to get into that with the NCAA. We'll get into that in the next hour. Thank you, Travis. Thank you for producing a little bit. I forgot about that.
Just over 2 minutes. You're up.
A lot of songs coming in, a lot of discussion. Colonial Life Arena, kind of an interesting discussion. Just the arena in and of itself. I made the comment earlier. Look, I'm not. Rich weighs in, says you're wrong about CLA. While it's not perfect for basketball, it's far from below average. I've been to. I haven't been to Missouri. I haven't been to Bud Walton. I think that's it. And yes, I've even been to the old Auburn facility. Been to the new one. New one's phenomenal. New one's incredible. Am I leaving anywhere else? I worked with the Big Spur for a while, and I would cover basketball. And I would go. Oh, I haven't been to Tech. I haven't been to Texas A&M. I almost went 2 years ago when South Carolina played Texas A&M out in College Station. The football game, we played them, the beginning of the season, and I kind of now, Patrick, wish would have gone because Texas A&M that night played Gonzaga, so that might have been worth going to. That was we were on a Friday night hanging out downtown, and some really nice Texas A&M fans offered us tickets to go and just check it out. So I haven't been to Missouri, Texas A&M, or Arkansas, which is about. I've been to obviously to College Station for football, but I've been places that, not bragging, I just doesn't. There's nothing unique about it. There's not a single thing unique about it, and it's part of the problem.
When you say anything about South Carolina is not perfect.
Yeah, Baylor wins the national championship last night. The reason we talk about that, Baylor's history similar to South Carolina. We'll talk more about that. Some college baseball news in the Masters. Hour 3 is next.
Great. I think someone got my email address. My spam emails have just increased.
It's gone off the chart.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous. They're getting so good, too, at tricking you. I got an email that said my Netflix payment method needed to be updated. And, I mean, it had the Netflix header. It had everything. Like, they're doing a really good job at masking it now. Okay.
O'Connell Center. Yeah, I mean, and that's the kind of the crazy thing about that's true, Jan. Anything after Wildcat Hollow is archaic. But the thing about the O'Connell Center is there's a uniqueness to it. There's something. I've been there. It's not a great facility. It's not something, but it's kind of like Stegman Coliseum is not a great. Stegman Coliseum I would put behind Colonial Life Arena in Georgia. Mississippi State's is the way they've got it designed and set up is it's not a nice facility. There's a difference between a nice facility in college basketball and a facility that has character and creates an environment. Maybe that's what we should say on air. There's a total difference. Who is this? Bill Ewing said, Carolina Coliseum was not what anybody would label a nice facility, but it had character and a uniqueness to it, and it created an environment. And Colonial Life Arena didn't do that at all. There's no environment.
I think every college basketball arena should be one of those where the players on the bench sit under the court, like at Vanderbilt and Minnesota, and I don't know what else. You know what I'm talking about?
Minnesota, they don't sit under the basket; they sit on the side, but the court is raised.
That's what I'm talking about. The raised court where they're underneath of it. Yeah, I love that. I don't know why, but I always love that.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, you got to have something that's just it creates a different environment. And I don't know. We'll talk a little Masters this hour. I need to bring up that stuff that Travis brought up about the NCAA regionals.
You know, that's what we were when we were looking at some of the videos or like overhead shots of the city of Indianapolis, that's exactly how I'd describe the entire city of Indianapolis. No uniqueness, just a big city with literally no redeeming qualities. Just super average. Maybe Jen would take offense to that, but
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know. That'd be a good one for Jen.
huh?
That would be a good one for Jen to take on.
Because all they have is like you can't think of a food or like a specific city block or anything in the city of Indianapolis outside of the Speedway, right? Like there's nothing notable about it.
But then think about all the things they've hosted. I gotta get a little bit more coffee. What's all the things Indianapolis has hosted?
Well, they just host the tournament all the time, right? And the combine.
Have they not done one Super Bowl? Did they not get one Super Bowl? Am I wrong with that?
I can't remember them hosting a Super Bowl. They might have. Let's see, Super Bowl locations. In 2012, it looks like. Oh, that was the second time the Giants beat the Patriots. I believe that was played in Indianapolis.
You what?
I think the second time the Giants beat the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was many, but
They posted one.
Huh?
They posted one.
Yeah. 691. All you people in the live stream, we need you to go right now. Quick, just fill up Twitter and see if we can get to 700 this hour. Just go fill up Twitter. We back?
No, we'll find see this
Okay. Yeah, I agree, Jan. Could have definitely spent 35 million and fixed up some things there. I'm with you. That would have been a good way to do it. Let's see what we got here. Let's look around to see what. Ooh, the Twins won big yesterday, 15-6. That was on ESPN. I was watching a little bit.
Who are they playing? Tigers?
Yeah. Blue Jays look good this year. They're off to a 3-1 start. Yankees won last night. They thumped the Orioles.
No, the Orioles are the best team in baseball right now, though.
Phillies. How about them Phillies? 4-0. Red Sox 11-2 over the Rays last night.
I think the Nats will finally start their season tomorrow with 5 starters out.
Oh, that's right. The Braves were supposed to play the Nationals.
Yeah, I think they're going to play a doubleheader tomorrow, I think.
You're still going to have some of that. Jan, I was talking about that bourbon club last night at Good Morning Trey at Truist Park. Apparently, it's $500 to get in. $500 a ticket. That's a little pricey.
This is funny. The Panthers did sign tight end Dan Arnold earlier this offseason. The Darnold to Arnold connection is going to be lethal.
Did Montgomery throw last night, or was that? Why do I feel like that was Sunday night? Am I just struggling? No, he threw last night. Yep. So when do the hockey playoffs start? Because I feel like that's the next playoffs, right? They always start before the NBA.
Yeah, a little under 2 months. Caps have, I think, 18 games left. And they're playing some good hockey right now. All right.
I'm not
All right.
What is that? Is that my
That was you playing something on your computer.
ESPN?
Yeah. ESPN just always auto plays. All right. You're up.
Oh, it looks beautiful on television. And I'm referring to Augusta National as I flip the channel over and welcome you into hour number 3 of the Tuesday morning edition of the early game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett, Tim Hill, Jen Jensen, they needed a vacation from us. Tim hasn't taken a vacation, like an actual legitimate vacation. And I know some of you out there and you people tend to start bragging about this thing. I'm taking a vacation in 12 years. Every day I've been to work. Okay, that's good. Get it? Patrick's one of those people. Patrick, you got a little. Didn't you get some kind of quick vacation? Didn't you do something? Hadn't you been able to do something?
I went to Wilmington for New Year's.
Yeah.
I just take weekends. I just get like one day on the weekend. Yeah.
No,
I can't afford to go away for a whole week.
That's Patrick's going into that area, but yeah, Tim has not taken a vacation, like a legitimate vacation in 2 years. The guy works hard and he deserves a week off. And being the good friend that I am, I was like, hey buddy, have this week off, man. Take this week, go enjoy with the family. And he's got the third child now and the other 2 boys. It's a lot. And so we give Tim the week off. Jen just
What are we doing? We should be giving him a hard time.
We are.
That's what we do.
So we're picking on him now. We're gonna get to picking on him.
Nah, you're just telling him how much he deserves it. Give him a hard time.
He works
Give him a hard
hard.
time.
Yeah, we'll give him a hard time later in the week when we really get into the Masters discussion and everything else. But Tim needed a week off. He's finally getting some time off. He's finally able to do his thing. He definitely has not gotten up and listened to us. I can pretty much guarantee that he is not bothered getting up. You can hit him up on Twitter. I saw him tweeting late last night. I saw him. You can hit him up at Tim Hill 1075. Ask him how he's doing. You can hit Patrick Perrett up on Twitter at _Patrick Perrett. Obviously, if you want to get in touch with me, at Will, W-I-L, Gunter, G-U-N-T-E-R is the way you can reach me as well. If you want to reach the show this morning, a lot to talk about. I am watching the Masters. They've got live from the Masters. We are now less than 48 hours away from the return of the Masters to the spring. It's hard to kind of believe that the Masters was the last major played. And think about that for a second. The last time, and now we lost sight of it. That was the weekend South Carolina got who smoked South Carolina that weekend. That was November 7th. Was that Georgia? I think it was Georgia. I think it was a night game. By that point, we'd all lost interest. It was going downhill. We knew we were in a bad place. I think it was Georgia on November 7th. But that was the last major. And, I'm thrilled for Dustin Johnson, but it was a little unfair because I think a lot of us, maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, because it was college football season, because of the NFL, so much going on. I don't think we gave Dustin the love that we should have given him, being a local boy. I think he's got is the Champions Dinner. I need to look this up. I think the Champions Dinner might be tonight, might be on Tuesday night. I don't think it's on Wednesday night. I feel like it's on Tuesday night, but I'll look that up here in a few minutes.
Disturbing?
Yeah, pigs in a blanket, man.
Is that
Actually, it's just
real?
pigs. It's actually just pigs in a blanket. That's not man, but yeah, you've never heard of pigs in a blanket?
Was I born yesterday? Of course, I've heard of pigs in a blanket. I just can't imagine that actually being the meal.
Yeah, well, no, that's like the appetizer.
Okay, that's better than just serving trays of pigs in a blanket to everyone as your meal.
Yeah, no, that's part of like the.
Okay, I'm saying it now. Pigs in a blanket and lobster and corn fritters.
Yeah, no, he.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be a shame. Like, all right, boys, welcome to the dinner.
How many you want?
I'm looking to see. Does it? Yeah, at the appetizer for DJ. I was looking just real quick to see when it tells me what night it is, because I always thought it was
April
Tuesday.
6th.
That's today. That is today. I had to look. So if you're wondering, Dustin Johnson's Champions Dinner will be pigs in a blanket and lobster and corn fritters for the appetizer. The first course will be a house salad or a Caesar salad, your choice. I'll go Caesar. Family style sides, mashed potatoes and spring vegetables. The main course is filet. I was going to make a joke and say mignon, and then I totally forgot how to say it. Filet mignon. Say it, Patrick. I screwed myself up on that. Thank you. I was going to make a joke, and then I totally.
Mignon.
And then let's see. So you got that. You got steak, and then you got miso marinated sea bass, which sounds delicious.
What is miso?
I have no clue, but I got to admit, I'm a little bit more of like a seafood fish type eater. Like I'll go with the fish more often. I like a good steak. But I'm not like a steak every week kind of guy.
Miso is a Japanese seasoning, and they have miso soup, and I think that looks like the soup that if you go to a hibachi place and they give you the salad and the soup, I think the soup that they give you is miso soup. So
yeah, seems right. I would go with the sea bass. I would be fired up for the sea bass tonight.
Yeah, I'm always thinking of seafood.
I am with
you.
I
don't think you have to pick though, right? At the Champions Dinner.
It does say and. It doesn't say or. It's not like a Will Muschamp depth chart. It says and. So, yeah, I mean, you're in good shape there. So, again, appetizer, pigs in a blanket, and lobster and corn fritters. That's quite a combination, quite frankly, there. First course is house salad or Caesar salad, family-style sides, mashed potatoes, and spring vegetables. Main course, filet mignon, or miso marinated sea bass, and the dessert, peach cobbler and apple pie with vanilla ice cream. That is the Dustin Johnson Champions Dinner tonight. It'll be tonight again, and then tomorrow you'll have the par 3 tournament. You'll have some stuff going on. I think ESPN's got some coverage from 12 to 2, and then 48 hours away. Patrick, you get into golf occasionally. You got a pick for this week? We'll do this more tomorrow and Thursday, but you kind of got a direction you're leaning on this?
No, I just have guys I like. I would love to see Spieth win that. I think it'd be awesome.
Spieth?
Yeah. Is he after obviously Tiger? We don't know what's gonna happen with him, but who is the biggest draw, or who brings the most eyeballs, or who is it best for golf when he is in contention on Sunday now? Because I think Spieth is weirdly polarizing, it seems like. And he's really good for golf.
He's playing well. I think if you could have
people get into watching Spieth, though. Is it just because he came in so hot and won as a 21-year-old and won several majors and looked like he was just going to completely take over? And it is just kind of crazy how he fell off so hard. And the mental hurdle, like anyone that talks about the mental hurdle of golf, Exhibit A is Jordan Spieth. So I think it's cool. I like Jordan Spieth. I would like to see him win it.
His entrance into to golf actually was on entrance. His beginning, mind you, and as you just made a great point. That's why I bring this up. Spieth's first few years on tour were the equivalent of Tiger. He was on that pace, and I remember having this conversation. Like, look, as great as Tiger was, look at what this guy's doing, and my goodness, back to back. But it shows you what Tiger was able to maintain, not just mentally, but with his golf swing, to then just get better and just to dominate in the manner that he did. And obviously Spieth has fallen off. He bounces back. He wins last week. We'll see kind of how it kind of goes for him this week. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us. You can do so via the text line. you can do so via the Love Chevy phone lines. Again, the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Couple text lines. A couple text messages coming in. Matt says, if y'all want to give Tim a hard time, he should be ripped for that terrible Twitter profile pic. That's Lane Kiffin that he has up there. KO in Augusta says, as an Augusta native, because against KO in Augusta, he says, as an Augusta native, I can confirm the Champions Dinner is tonight. So you got that. You got really Scott weighs in. Did I miss this? Scott says no par 3 tournament this year again. Have I not paid attention to that? That's awful.
I certainly haven't paid attention. I will look though.
Oh, that's awful. I did not realize that. And then Sammy says, watch out for Matt Kuchar this year. Smart money is DJ. So if you want to weigh in, we'll ask you, what is your? We'll give you 4. Sunday afternoon, back 9 at the Masters. You got 4 guys competing because Patrick brings up a good question.
What is just? I'm not like people will tell us what they want, but I'm asking you if there's the final pairing. Who does the PGA Tour want the final pairing to be?
All right, you want to do the final? We'll do the final. Who's the final 2? Well, I'm kind of interested to know
in terms of numbers.
Who gets you watching? We're asking different questions here. This is where we should have done a little bit more. But because I feel like your question though, you said Spieth is polarizing. I want to know who gets you completely glued to the television on Sunday on the back 9 for the Masters.
But I'm talking about how, like, the MLB wants the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series.
Right.
What does the PGA Tour want so that the most people will turn on their televisions and watch this final pairing? Is it Spieth and Rory?
All right.
That would probably
be a radio program. Guess. We can adjust on the fly. So we're going to ask you 2 questions. You can send both in at the same time. Who do you want, and who do you think the PGA Tour wants? Because those can be different answers. Those can be different answers. Because that is a good question. Who do you think the PGA Tour wants? I don't know, Patrick. I think it's who would the PGA?
Everyone was just such a distant second to Tiger. It was the only question was, oh yeah, Craig did just I think Bryson is entering that.
Oh, he is. No, he's in there. Craig.
Bryson and Spieth, I actually think Craig got it right. I actually think that's the answer.
Couple nominations on the live stream. And again, if you want to weigh in, you can do so. Live stream, you can go to youtube.com. You can look for our 1075 The Game webpage, our 1075 The Game channel. Subscribe there. We're at 691. We're shamelessly plugging to get to 700. Please help us get to 700. We would be very appreciative of that. Trey weighs in, DJ, and Trey actually is just weighing in with all kinds. He's just throwing out. He's giving me Trey, who yesterday was part of Grill Bill, is just throwing out final pairings left and right.
Oh, he's just giving us long shot bets too.
Yeah,
I did bet on who was my guy last? Oh, Mark Leishman. Was my long shot bet in the last Masters.
You did. But let's see here. So let's go through some of these because these are 2 different answers. Who do you want to see in the final pairing? And who do you think the PGA Tour wants to see? You might be a Phil Mickelson fan. And I got to admit, the PGA Tour might love Phil Mickelson coming down the stretch, like in a battle with one of the young guns, like Phil.
That would be quite a story.
That would be like, I get it. Maybe that's what the PGA Tour. But who do you want, and who do you think the PGA Tour wants? Because those are 2 totally different questions. Todd weighs in. Todd Lash on the. Thank you, Todd, for subscribing and joining the YouTube channel. He says he'd like to see DJ and Bryson. Travis, guys, I need answers here. Craig weighs in, and this is the one that got Patrick going. Bryson DeChambeau and Jordan Spieth final round would destroy in the ratings.
I think Bryson is the next biggest thing, just because the way he plays, how obnoxious he is. I think that is the most polarizing guy in golf right now. Maybe Phil, just because it'd be crazy to see Phil potentially win another one. So Bryson and Phil would. Bryson kind of like the face of the new wave of golf, or the new way to play golf, or how young people look at the game in like an analytical way versus old school Phil, and that would be pretty fascinating.
David sends me a personal text. He says PGA Tour would want to see Bryson and Phil go out on top. I do think Phil would play look, Phil Mickelson.
That would be hard to top.
Would be the equivalent of what we saw from Tiger Woods 2 years ago. it would be up there. It wouldn't be the same comeback story, although Phil has stunk this year, like really bad. Phil is that coffee for wellness is not making him well. It's not helping. It's helped me a little bit, kind of, although I started drinking it and then had that viral infection.
Yeah, I mean, there's no shot this is actually going to happen, right? Like Phil, there's no way he's going to win it.
Not based on the way he's played for the first 3 months of the season. No, Phil Mickelson stinks at golf on the PGA.
He's
Not bad on the senior tour.
Old.
Well, he's 50. He's 50.
That's all he is.
Moving on to the senior tour now. He's moving on to the senior tour. Yeah, it's where he would go. Heather weighs in. Spieth and Wolf. I don't think nobody. Well, that's who she. I'm going with that's who she wants to see. Not
Yeah, that makes sense.
not. And Rich weighs in. DJ, Spieth, Phil, and Koepka. Yeah, although
I'm with Hope on the live stream too, though. I so badly want to see Ricky Fowler win a major.
Really
Yeah, Ricky Fowler's such a nice guy.
does seem like a nice guy.
Cool
He does
dude.
good commercials.
Everybody likes him. And he's so good, but he just never shows up when the Masters come around or when the majors come around.
All right, we're 48 hours. We'll get more and we'll do some more Masters talk this hour. It's an interesting discussion. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100 is how you can do so. Who would you? Got two questions here. It's easy. You can send both of them. Who would you want to see in the final pairing? Who do you think the PGA Tour would want to see in the final pairing? Justin Thomas and Rory McIlroy in the final pairing coming down the stretch on Sunday. I kind of think that's where the PGA Tour would like to see that. You got Justin Thomas, you got Rory, two fan favorites. I feel like that's kind of maybe where they would go. I don't know, and I'm with Craig on this on the live stream. He says as good as Koepka is, he doesn't move the needle. I agree. I don't know if Koepka moves the needle. DeChambeau would be a guy that I think the PGA Tour or CBS would love to have in the final pairing. I don't know if that's who you want. You might not be a DeChambeau fan, which is, look, I get it. He did kind of turn me around a little bit at Bay Hill, I believe, when he was hitting the long drives and seemed to be doing it for the fans, not necessarily for himself.
Why is Ricky Fowler not playing in the Masters?
Look it up. I
don't know. We just got two texts. So he's not even in the field. Is that because he's bad now, or
did he not win a major last year?
Wow.
Or not a major. I'm sorry.
A tournament at all?
Did he not win a tournament at all? Well, we'll check into this. This is live radio. I hope everybody's enjoying it and having a great Tuesday morning.
Man, yeah.
It's unfortunate. Fowler will be watching the tournament from home instead of competing in it. Fowler has not been at his best in recent months for a player who once dominated the tour with his flair. Just doesn't feel like Fowler's 32.
everyone just texted in basically said because he sucks.
Yeah, he hasn't qualified for the Masters this year.
Right,
so there you go. I told you guys. Thank you to everybody. It's a team effort.
I like him. He's got that going for him.
It's a team effort, and I appreciate all of you, really, with the exception of Derek Phillips. I don't know if I really I guess you're okay. We'll live with you. That's how I feel. So Tuesday morning, I'm still a little cranky. I stayed up and watched Baylor 86-70 last night. Roll over Gonzaga. It wasn't even a close game. It wasn't worth staying up for. We've discussed that. If you want to weigh in on that, if you want to weigh in on the Masters, if you want to weigh in on Ricky Fowler, if you want to weigh in on Derek Phillips, the former good-looking guy on Watch Fox 57. He's giving away to Mike Yuba now. It's a contest over there, Derek Phillips and Mike Yuba. So, but I guess Derek and I had some good times hanging out. 803-404-6100. We hope you're all doing well this morning, moving around, having a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday morning here in the Midlands. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett. We're getting you through here on the early game, 107.5 The Game.
Clear.
All right, so Ricky Fowler didn't qualify. Well, all right. Let's see, Ray didn't. Yep. Let's see. Wow. Got some Sam Darnold tweets, text messages. Koepka, Derek Phillips. I like Derek. Derek's a good guy. Good family man. Does a good job. Didn't qualify. Fowler didn't qualify. Scott did not qualify. Fowler not in the field. So, yeah. The text line is up and working perfectly fine. I didn't see that. Patrick, did you see this about the question to Aaron Rodgers on Jeopardy?
Yeah, I saw the video of the question. I didn't see any of the episode because I don't have cable, but I saw that one question. It was in Final Jeopardy, and that was his answer. The guy's answer to Final Jeopardy was who wanted to kick field goal. I listened to some of Rodgers' interviews. He was doing a big media tour, pumping himself up.
I like Rodgers. I think he's going to have a good post-career doing something.
Well, he said, I would love to be the host of Jeopardy. So it is now like kind of an interesting storyline that were he to get the offer to host Jeopardy, would he just retire from football on the spot and say, yeah, I'm going to host Jeopardy now? Because Jeopardy is like a lifetime gig.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If he gets offered and says no and they give it to somebody else, that offer is not coming back to him. You're just not even.
I'm listening to you. I'm having to send a text message. I apologize. No, I agree with you. He didn't do a bad job as a host.
Yeah. I think it'd be electric if he retired from football so he could host Jeopardy.
Just do Jeopardy?
Yeah.
I'm with you, Bill. I don't watch Jeopardy, but Dr. Oz wants the job.
I don't remember all the names that have guest hosted, but I know Katie Couric and Dr. Oz are both on there. I don't remember who else. Somebody's calling the traffic line, but I can't even answer the call. Oh, yeah, the producer of the show. Yeah, I don't know. That's a coveted job. The rumors were that Trebek was making like $10 million a year.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh. Interesting. We'll get into this baseball thing a little bit.
What is
Bounce back, maybe some Sam Darnold. Wrap up the basketball. Anything else in football that you wanted to get into? Any other draft or anything? No?
No, what is the baseball thing that you're talking about?
Just the regionals thing. I'll bring that up next.
I don't know what it is, so. DMX is back on life support.
Are you serious? Well, he ain't right.
He's not going to make it, it doesn't look like.
Nah.
Yeah, where was it? The last update was not good.
Heather says, poor guy, wish Ricky could win a major. Judge Judy makes $47 million? My goodness.
No way, dude.
Per year?
There's no shot Judge Judy makes $47 million a year.
I did, Cullen, I did see that yesterday, that the young lady, was she from Japan? They had to have a translator. And Mike Tirico asked what it meant to win the tournament or what she knew about the Masters prior to coming there. She basically knew nothing.
HollywoodReporter.com. Judy has made it clear that she intends to end Judge Judy after its 25th season in syndication, but a legal fight over her $47 million a year salary could spur a major showdown. There's just no chance that that's true. Almost $1 million an episode.
Apparently. I can't believe she's
not
done it.
real. That can't be real.
I need to see who was South Carolina throwing tonight. I need to look that up. I forgot because it was somebody that I was a little thrown off by. Judge Judy, $47 million.
I don't believe it.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, Jack Mahoney. There's a lot going on. When Patrick and I are in charge, I feel like we get to more topics and more things happen.
I need to see Judge.
I have to stay more alert. I can't be messing around quite as much.
Judge Judy needs to show her tax returns because I'm not believing $47 million.
Yeah,
that's
buying in on the $47 million. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep
outrageous. That's an
Where do we
outrageous
stand
number. She makes more than any athlete in the world.
I don't believe that.
I mean, the highest NBA salary is like $40 million. Judge Judy makes more than LeBron? No way. I don't believe it.
He's about right.
I don't believe it. We're back. You're up.
8:30 on a Tuesday morning. Hope you're doing well out there. It's supposed to be a very, very nice day here in the Midlands as we head toward Masters weekend. Let's just kind of give a Patrick, I apologize. I never really listened during the breaks. Have you given a weather update for the week? For the day?
Nah, I don't do weather. Just traffic.
Yeah, just traffic. All right. 82 is your high today. It's going to be nice. It's going to be a nice day. 82 is your high. Tomorrow is 84. 82 on Thursday. If you go to the Masters tomorrow, by the way, did we confirm that no par 3 thing? No? Okay. If you get a chance, check into that. Let's confirm that. That seems maybe something. 84 tomorrow.
Yeah, confirmed.
Wow,
Not happening.
3. Okay. 82 on Thursday. 20% chance of rain. 79 on Friday. Right now, calling for a 30% chance of rain. Saturday will be 80. 40% chance of rain in Masters. Sunday, 78 degrees and a 20% chance of rain. So some rain projected here. I'll actually be out at the top left on Saturday at about 2:30 out at Williams-Brice Stadium. So, but today, very nice, 82 degrees. So if you're out there heading to the office, be safe, get in there, hang out with some coworkers, discuss last night's Baylor thumping of Gonzaga, 86-70. Baylor's just, Patrick, we agree, was just way more athletic. I mean, the athleticism between the two teams, it really was. You watched the first half before you went to work. Was it surprising?
No, it wasn't. Baylor was a bunch of grown men that were ready for that game and were ready to really just, I don't know. They just made Gonzaga so uncomfortable at the beginning. Like, Gonzaga had 3 turnovers before they had 3 shot attempts.
Yeah.
Like, they were just not ready for that level of physicality and intensity. And that's Gonzaga's kind of a front runner team. I mean, they have had some nice comebacks, like BYU getting them down 10 at the half in the WCC tournament, I think. But they really haven't faced too much adversity. They did in the Final Four, but it was just I was trying to think of another example of it where you have a semifinal game, like a super dramatic semifinal game like Gonzaga just did against UCLA, and it kind of kills all of the – like that was ultimately their moment. Because I heard Jim Nance, I think, was talking to Mark Few. They were talking about the USA, the Miracle game. And USA, that was the game against the Soviet Union, was actually the semifinal game, and they still needed to beat Finland. And Mark Few's comment was, yeah, Baylor's a lot better than Finland. I heard that on the radio. So do you have another example of a team like having such an emotionally charged semifinal win and then just not having the juice to keep it going in the championship.
Not often. These Final Fours, I hate to say it like this because I do love basketball. They come and they go. I watch them and then I forget. I mean, we didn't have, obviously.
I was trying to think of a Super Bowl, like a really intense championship game that.
Well, you get 2 weeks off for that as opposed to a day. I was gonna say, like, one, I was gonna say I don't really remember Final Four games. Like, can you name the other two teams in the Final Four 2 years ago? You had Virginia play Texas Tech for the national championship. I know of one. Of one team that was in the Final Four from the SEC.
Auburn. Yeah.
I mean, without going back and looking that, and it just goes to show you.
Yeah, it was Tech beat Michigan State, I think.
Okay, all right. It kind of just goes to show you that Final Fours. I think it's great. It's a culmination of a fun month of basketball. I'm not sure how many people really remember it. Like, I don't know how many people in 6 months, 3 months, or if you said, "Hey, who was in the Final Four this year?" that they're going to remember that it was Gonzaga, UCLA.
Well, they'll remember that. They'll remember that game.
They might not, man. These things move. The NCAA tournament.
We're talking about one of the great games in college basketball history.
Possibly. Here's where I was going to go with that. You brought up the shot, and Grant Hill was talking last night about, and I don't know if you caught this part. I forget what it was. But he was talking last night, and he was talking about after Leitner hit the shot to beat Kentucky, that the next week, whoever they went and played Indiana, is who he was talking about in the Final Four. And he said, for whatever reason, they just came out flat. And he said it was hard to get the emotion and energy back up. And I think I'm one of those people, a lot of us, 95% of you out there listening, have never been in that level of sports. And so I think we all say, how hard is it to get fired up for a Final Four game? Or how hard is it to get fired up for a national championship game? Patrick, you kind of said this. I don't buy the theory that there was a letdown after the Jalen Suggs shot on Saturday night. I buy into the theory that Baylor was absolutely the better team last night, was far more athletic.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, the way they started, it was a hungrier team. It was a team who had heard about Gonzaga all season long and was waiting on this matchup and knew they were better.
Yeah, and they mentioned it. They said, I mean, they were making sarcastic comments after the game, like, "Oh yeah, that was the best team in college basketball history." Unfortunately, and we shouldn't even bother showing up. I mean, they had all sorts of bulletin board material if that's what they were looking for. But at the beginning of the game, when they just got blitzed at the beginning, like Nance and Rafter, they were like saying how Gonzaga looked fatigued, and
yeah,
I'm not buying that at all because Gonzaga had to play 5 more minutes of basketball.
No, I'm not. Look, they had not. Gonzaga had problems with UCLA because UCLA had 2 really athletic guards in Juzang and Tiger Campbell. And that was part of the reason that game stayed close, was because of the athleticism of UCLA. And UCLA doesn't have anywhere near the athleticism of Baylor. They roll last night at 86-70. Again, Baylor gets out to a 9-0 start. It ballooned to 33-14 in the first half. Gonzaga made a run. They got it within 10 at halftime. Was what it was. That was your viewing last night. Tonight, SEC Network, you can hear it right here as well on 107.5. The game, South Carolina and North Carolina, they'll meet up in Charlotte. First pitch is scheduled for, I believe, 7 p.m. here. Of all the things that I'm looking at, it doesn't tell me first pitch, which is 7 p.m. You would think it would be right here at the top, but it's not. It's 7 p.m. tonight up in Charlotte. It'll be Jack Mahoney throwing for the Gamecocks, 1-0 this year, 1.69 ERA, 22 strikeouts, 5 walks. Max Alba for North Carolina, 2-2 on the year, 5.97 ERA, 28 strikeouts and 5 walks. North Carolina comes into the game on a 2-game losing streak. They lost 2 of 3 to Florida State last weekend, winning the series opener on Friday night, but then turning around and losing the next 2 games. We'll see. It's a big game, Patrick, for the Gamecocks. They need to win these midweek games. I don't know. You were asking off air. We wanted to get to this. This was put out by Kendall Rogers yesterday. The NCAA will have predetermined regional and super regional sites in this year's tournament. Sources are telling D1 Baseball the sites for both rounds will be announced the week of May 10th, and bids, and that's a key word, Patrick, bids must be submitted by April 12th, meaning what kind of stadium do you have? What kind of hotel situation in your town do you have? Columbia can do this. Columbia can do this. The way I'm reading through this, the University of South Carolina, Ray Tanner, Columbia, I don't know if again, keyword here, bids must be submitted. It doesn't say from the school. It doesn't say whether it's like NCAA basketball regional where the city has to. I'd be kind of interested to know if that's the case. But that is something to keep an eye on, because now it's not going to be based on how you actually do. It's going to be on your bid to host an NCAA regional that, again, will be announced May 10th.
Well, South Carolina having hosted the NCAA tournament regionals immediately proves that they are qualified for that type of event, right? I mean, this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt teams in small markets or like not cities, right?
No. South Carolina did not get another NCAA tournament basketball bid. I can't remember what year, 2025, I believe. I could be wrong. Because they were deemed not having enough. I think it was either high quality hotels. There was something to do with the hotels. I'd have to go back and look at the article.
After the last time that people were unsatisfied,
because they had to put two teams at the same hotel.
Huh.
And you're not supposed to do that. And that was one of the reasons that South Carolina that Columbia got bypassed. I don't know how that'll implicate or what it will mean for baseball regionals, but this was news coming out yesterday. South Carolina right now, the way they're playing now, we talked about the schedule yesterday a little bit. When you look down the line, and they're going to play 4 teams in the top 6 here before the end of the season, things can change drastically, obviously. But if things were as normal, South Carolina would be in great shape to definitely host a regional and have opportunities to play their way into hosting a super regional. This news coming out yesterday now takes that away. And again, I'll read this. This is a tweet from Kendall Rogers yesterday saying that the NCAA will have predetermined regional and super regional sites in this year's tournament. Sources are telling D1 Baseball the sites for both rounds will be announced the week of May 10th. Bids must be submitted by April 12th. That's obviously next Monday. Again, we're still working. I'm sure more information will continue to come out on this. My question would really just be like, who's submitting? Is it the university? Is it the city? What exactly does it mean? There's several articles. You can go check it out. I was trying to read most of them last night, but I was also watching a basketball game. It's kind of going to be difficult to figure out. But South Carolina right now would be in line to, I think, host a regional. Not so much a super regional, but again, to start doing stuff like that, Patrick, you got to win a game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can talk all day about how brutal the end of the season is going to be. You got North Carolina. I was just looking at the RPI. They're 58 in the RPI. Got to win this game and put yourself in position with a little bit of momentum going to this weekend. Got to take 2 at least this weekend. Just overall, I think as long as you take 3 of the 4 next games, Carolina and the 3 against Missouri, you're in good shape. Just keep it rolling. Everything's good right now. Keep it rolling.
803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. We bounced all around from the Masters to baseball. And let's get Patrick's take on this, by the way, because we got a couple people weigh in. One other topic, something else that happened yesterday. Sam Darnold traded to the Carolina Panthers. We talked about it this morning, but we got an anonymous texter, and he said he may have missed it. What is Patrick's take on the Sam Darnold trade? Give us your quick trade. Darnold to the Panthers yesterday. Again, what did they give up? A
6th rounder and then a 2nd and a 4 next year.
Yeah. 6th rounder this year, 2nd and 4 next year.
Yeah. My immediate takeaway was just they don't believe that they are in the mix for a quarterback in the draft anymore. I think they would love the opportunity to take Mac Jones at number 8. They see San Francisco trade up to number 3, and the guy that they coached at the Senior Bowl just a couple weeks ago looks like he's probably going to be the third player taken. I think they also means that they probably called Atlanta at number 4 and said, hey, what would it take for us to move to your spot? And you move down to number 8. And Atlanta said, kick rocks. We're not trading with a division opponent. And they just feel like they're not really going to be in the market, and they don't want to potentially mortgage anything for the 5th quarterback taken in this draft. So Sam Darnold is someone that Matt Rule has been high on before when he interviewed for the Jets job a couple years ago. Joe Brady is known to be the quarterback whisperer, and Sam Darnold has a ton of potential. He's young, 23 years old, younger than Joe Burrow, barely older than some of the quarterbacks coming in this year. And there's a ton of potential there. And the Panthers, they've got other issues. Their offensive line's terrible. They don't have a tight end. They just lost Curtis Samuel. Their weapons are pretty good. And talking about McCaffrey and then the 1-2 punch of DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. But there's lots of holes to fill in that team. They drafted all defense last year, so they didn't really help in that regard. But I think this more just speaks to the fact that they're a little bit desperate. They do not want to roll into 2021 with Teddy Bridgewater as their quarterback after what they saw last year. So they preemptively made the move. That would probably cost more after the draft, when a lot of teams that are thinking they're going to get their quarterback in the future realize that's not going to be the case. And Matt asked at the end of the 7 o'clock hour, question regarding Sam Darnold, can you think of a starting quarterback with a track record of not being very good who goes to a new team and suddenly is very good? My answer would be yes. Ryan Tannehill, the last quarterback that played for Adam Gase before he was fired in Miami. So I think that's exactly what the Panthers are thinking. Get him out of Adam Gase's system, and just the cesspool that is the New York Jets. They just ruin everything good. Let Zach Wilson deal with that now, and we'll give him Joe Brady. We'll give him a running game with Christian McCaffrey. Hopefully they'll draft an offensive line. I think my mock draft is now going to switch to the Panthers taking Rashawn Slater at number 8, and they would be absolutely over the moon if Penei Sewell somehow fell to number 8. But I think that's a little unlikely at this point. But look, I think it works for everybody. I think the Jets won the trade, though, just by getting a 2nd-round pick out of a guy that they weren't going to keep anyway.
I think the interesting part about this, to me, and Patrick, you follow it a lot closer than I do, is what you're projecting with quarterbacks through the first 7 picks. Because now, what do we say? You've got 4 of them in there. Did we say 4? You got Lawrence, Fields, Wilson, and Lance. And you got Mac Jones. You got
Mac Jones,
5 quarterbacks in the top 7 picks. And so when you say Penei Sewell falling to 7, who are the other 2 guys that round out that list? Is it
Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase? Those are the outside the quarterbacks. Those are the big 3. Those are the big 3 non-quarterbacks that are just kind of can't miss blue chip guys.
And so if you're talking about it with Sewell, the left tackle from Oregon, if the quarterback draft goes as you're projecting, one of those guys is sitting there. I know you said, what did you say, Rashawn Slater?
Rashawn Slater from Northwestern, yeah.
And what is he?
He's a tackle.
Okay.
Likely guard, yeah.
That's why I have Patrick here in the NFL talking. He covers.
But just imagine, I mean, you got Sam Darnold. If you want to give him a chance to be successful, you give him Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and potentially Kyle Pitts. I mean, that's an outrageous. You'd have one of the best skill position groups in the NFL. So
it does help.
Yeah,
that's up. You're right. And you can try to beef up your offensive line through the free agency or other ways.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to go about it.
Yeah, 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. We've been all over the place. If you want to talk Masters, who is your – there's 2 questions, multi-question. Who is your ideal final pairing on Sunday? Who do you think the PGA Tour wants to see in the final pairing? And that's, again, two different questions. You might be pulling for somebody. You might want nothing to do with Bryson DeChambeau in your final pairing. Maybe the PGA Tour does. We've talked about South Carolina baseball. If you've got a pick for tonight, Hope was asking us. I think South Carolina is playing with a lot of confidence. North Carolina is struggling a little bit. I like South Carolina tonight. Jack Mahoney on the mound again, the freshman for the Gamecocks. We've also talked about last night's national championship game. Gonzaga undefeated. Did you see this? You might have had to leave for work. Did you see? I think it was 5 times in the history of college basketball. 5 times preseason number 1 and number 2 have met in the national championship. Last night. It happened again last night. Gonzaga was 1. Baylor was 2 last night. Preseason top 25. 5 times in the history of college basketball that had happened. The number 2 team in the preseason top 25 was 5-0. Baylor made it 6-0 last night with their victory. So how about that? 803-404-6100. How you can hit us up one last time, whether it's on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Yeah, what a morning. I think the radio's held up based on what the texters are saying. We haven't gotten that many. We got our point across. We did that okay. You guys have been fabulous as always on the live stream. We're up to 693. So the push for 700 is probably going to have to wait. Yeah, we got to start taking the screenshots of the Patrick frozen screen. It's been a rough morning. And I don't know, Patrick's controlling the live stream. He's in control of everything. Patrick, you're in control of the live stream. Do you have to reset your computer, or do you just log out? What are you having to do?
What, when it freeze?
Yeah.
No, I just have to wait for the internet to turn back on in this building so I can refresh my page. It only happens in this building. I've never lost internet in my house.
Yeah, it's that building. Yeah, it's if it went perfect, something would be wrong. Yeah, I think we've had a good show. I think we've been good. How much time are we going to have left? I know I pushed up in that 48. Pretty close.
Yeah, we're not going to have much time.
It's all right. We've done good. Tomorrow we'll have some baseball. We'll do some Masters. It reminds me, I was supposed to try and get Casey Kerr back on the he was good. Did we still never get that stuff to be able to put the to get the audio to come through? Is that Tim's computer? Is that what it was?
I don't know what the deal is with that. He said he was going to plug it in, but the point is it's supposed to run through the studio. So I thought that the producer would need to but Tim said he doesn't want to do that because it's too much work for whoever's producing. I don't know. I don't think it's I'm skeptical that it's going to end up happening.
We'll get him back. We'll get him all fired up. They'll come back from vacation ready with nothing but hot takes. Nothing but hot takes and sarcasm. Oh. Well, now I've been awake for 3 hours. I've had coffee. I don't know if I can go back to bed. Kids are on spring break. I might get Austin up, take him up to the basketball court. Work on a little shooting. Everybody's wearing down and off the road. See if there's any interesting emails here. I can see. It's not very nice. Not very nice. No, I'm at work on shooting. My fear, Bill, of tearing a popping an Achilles or some kind of old man injury is beyond paranoid now. Trust me, if you see me running, it's things are completely out of hand.
All right, we're gonna have a little over a minute.
Little over a minute, everybody. A little over a minute. Get your best hot takes in.
You're up.
Wrapping up a Tuesday morning, less than 48 hours from the Masters, less than 10 hours. What is it? 9 hours from the end of coverage last night of the national championship basketball game. Baylor and Gonzaga will move on to a new season. We won't spend, obviously, we don't have much time left here, but we'll talk maybe a little bit tomorrow. South Carolina basketball now, a lot of attention will turn toward them. Frank Martin, his contract, and moving forward, certainly something we'll keep an eye on. Gamecocks and Tar Heels tonight. You can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. You can check it out on the SEC network as well. Patrick, you've covered Sam Darnold of the Panthers well. If anybody's got any other questions, he's at _Patrick Brett. Hit him up. He'll answer you all day long. Anything else you want to add?
No, we're only a couple weeks away from the draft, and I've got my top 100 very much solidified. So I'm all ears for draft questions.
Lovely. Thank everybody for joining us today. We'll do it again tomorrow. You've been listening to the early game, 107.5 The Game.
Quick.
All right, everybody. Another A+ show on our end, and you guys were fantastic as well. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you, Travis. You have a good one.
Travis. Thank you, DC. We should just take over the Dan Patrick show.
We should. Yeah, well, no, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't. We should not.
Yeah, then we're
3 hours
gonna
after staying up till midnight is more than enough. I don't have enough coffee in me, and I don't feel like going down the monster.
No, I'm saying.
See, Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy.
Hey, thanks, Jimmy.
Hope you have a great day as well. Get me out of here, Percy.
Same time tomorrow. Bye, everybody.